it is at square leg. Got his throw away. Who's got is that volume on? Might be.
Ah, yeah, sorry.
And he went straight to Hill, got his throw away, and English, it bounced in front of English. He took the bails off neatly, but D'Oliveira, quick between the wickets, and made his ground. Floodlights coming on, of course, despite bright sunshine. In goes Parkinson and bowls. D'Oliveira looking to turn it into the leg side. Hits the pad, but going down the leg side. Howl from Josh English, making his last appearance for the Foxes as well. Inglis, hopefully we'll see him again in the racing green. And the white, of course, he played the last two championship games too. Parkinson is in. Driving is D'Oliveira, pleasantly, very straight through mid-off. There isn't a straight mid-off, just a long off. Comfortable single taken. Good start here, lads, is the call from, I think, Gavin Griffiths, at short third man. Umpire standing at the Bennett end is Neil Mallander. In goes Parkinson. Haynes makes rooms, drives pleasantly for 4. Just stepped back, made a little bit of room. Parkinson didn't really adjust, driven away past the reaching Ackerman and once through the covers. I walked a little bit on the outfield when I arrived at the ground at 7 o'clock this morning, and it is like concrete, absolutely like a skating rink. So if you can get it past the infield, it is very, very hard, nay impossible, to chase down. Parkinson waits for his long off to get back into position. A long chase to go and get the ball. In goes Parkinson and bowls. Haynes works it out towards mid-on. Coming in from the edge of the circle is Ben Mike. Comfortable single for Haynes. He moves on to 6 from 3 balls. 7 without loss after 5 deliveries. Frank's going to pop next door to update to BBC Hereford and Worcester as Parkinson goes in and bowls, stroked back to him by Brett D'Oliveira. Dot ball to finish the over. So 7 from the first over. Little toot of the Vuvuzela. Happy birthday, Stench, I understand. It is your birthday today if you're listening. Many, many happy returns. Remarkable follower of Leicester sport in person. Stenchies, football or the cricket, he can be found at one or t'other, and if they're not playing, I'm sure Welford Road, the Tigers Stadium, he graces with his presence. I don't know whether he's allowed to take his Vuvuzela into the football or the rugby, but it's become a feature of life here at the Upton Steel County Ground over the ages. Some like it, some are used to it. Some heartily dislike it, but he doesn't overuse it, and I must admit, I'm rather fond of it. Naveen Ul-Haq is going to bowl for the Foxes from the pavilion end. Frank will be on commentary when he comes back, but in the meantime, Naveen is in to Haynes. Relatively innocuous delivery. Waist height, bounces up to and just turned out to deep mid-wicket, where Aaron Lilly, 4 catches in the last game for Lilly. Comes into field, single taken by Haynes. He moves on to 7. 8 without loss is the score. Jack Haynes just leans on his bat and waits for Naveen with that now familiar run, little sort of stuttering run he needs in, and bowls a very slow delivery that fools D'Oliveira. He drives at it very airily, thick outside edge, goes high in the air, over point, out gently towards the deep point boundary. Running across there is Louis Kimber, so he picks up a single, D'Oliveira, and then he makes the gesture that batsmen do, that it was a ball right out of the back of the hand. It looked to be no more than, I don't know, 60 miles an hour, something like that. Absolutely looped down towards him. He went through with the shot anyway, and rather got away with it. Naveen is into Jack Haynes, a conventional delivery that Haynes plays back to the 21-year-old from Kabul. Been outstanding for the Foxes in this competition. Wickets in every innings in which he's bowled. And as a consequence, he has 24 in 13 innings. Economy rate is nothing really to write home about, 8.73, but as I say, it's the wickets taken that has really been his key selling point, and I'm sure the Foxes would like to have him back next year. I can't believe, incidentally, that he hasn't got a 100 contract in the circumstances, because last time I looked, he was about 4 wickets clear at the top of the wicket-taking table, and you would think that would qualify him. In he goes and bowls a slower ball that's lofted into the air, should be caught by Ben Mike, and is caught by Ben Mike at mid-on, just running back, and well, Haynes completely fooled by that slower ball. Naveen Ul-Haq claims to have 7 different varieties of slower ball, but with that wicket he confirms that in every innings in which he has bowled for Leicestershire, he has taken at least 1 wicket. Wicket number 25 for Naveen Ul-Haq, and very many of them have been taken with slower balls. Comfortable catch for Ben Mike, in as much as a catch just running back a little bit. He wasn't really taking it over his shoulder, but he was looking back towards me, if you like, running back from the pit, running back from his mid-on position towards the pavilion. But it was in the air for such a long time, he had time to get in pretty much exactly the position that he wanted to be in. Never looked like missing it. Got a little high five from Colin Ackerman at mid-off. 9 for 1, the Rapids. Listen to BBC Radio Leicester, BBC 5 Live Sports Extra, going out across the airwaves, across the country. A huge game of T20 cricket, T20 plus cricket, especially for the Worcester Rapids. They must win this game. Batsman cross, so it's Brett D'Oliveira on strike as in goes Naveen Ul-Haq. Slightly short ball just outside off stump. Stands up tall D'Oliveira and guides it down to wide third man. A bit of work for Griffiths to do down there by the time he picks up and gets his throw away. The speedy D'Oliveira has picked up 2. He moves on to 4 from 5 balls faced. 11 for 1, 1 ball left in this, the second over. Men out at point or just wide off cover and square leg as Naveen is in. Bowls slower ball, cut out towards wide third man, and I think that's going to run away for 4. Kimber can't get there. Nice placement by Libby. He has hit his first ball for 4. That will really boost the Rapids at the end of the second over, which had been a difficult one for them. They move on to 16 for 1. I beg your pardon, it was D'Oliveira on strike, of course, because they ran 2 previous deliveries. So Libby yet to face. D'Oliveira has 9 off 6. The Rapids 16 for 1 off 2 balls. Parkinson is going to continue. Often only bowls 1 at the top of the innings, but Ackerman is keeping him on. It's the same wicket as was used on Friday as Parkinson bowls, and that one does turn, comes off a thick leading edge from Libby out between Swindles and Rishi Patel, who is a cover and backward point respectively. Swindles is the one who gets across, but it means that Libby has picked up 1. In goes Parkinson, bowls, stroked out into the offside by D'Oliveira, out towards wide, long off, who comes running in from the edge of the circle. D'Oliveira takes 1. I think the electronic scoreboard may have frozen.
Yeah, I think it's
ticking on, but it's a bit behind now. Parkinson is in. Libby picks up 1 by just pushing it calmly out towards that exact same fielder. Long off, who is Aaron Lilly, comes into the edge of the circle to field. Libby picks up 1, moves on to 2. 19 for 1. Frank's back with us. Hurrah!
Yeah, sorry I've been so long. Been waiting to update FM listeners.
In goes Parkinson and makes room. D'Oliveira tries to carve it away on the offside, misses, and it doesn't miss off stump by very much. 19 for 1 remains the score. The scoreboards are disagreeing at the moment, so I'll glance at my computer in a moment. The computer has it at 18 as well. In goes Parkinson, bowls cut down to third man. That'll be 4. No chance for Griffiths, as I was saying, Frank, earlier when I walked on the outfield first thing this morning when I was around the ground, and it was like concrete.
Yeah.
So you get value for money if you beat the infield.
Yeah, a couple have raced away already, haven't they? And Jack Haynes, who got off the mark with that sumptuous cover drive, would be very disappointed to have been deceived by that slower ball.
Parkinson is in. Down the wicket goes D'Oliveira, getting to the pitch of the ball and driving it out to Lilly at long. Off throws on the bounce to English. Single taken by D'Oliveira, who will keep the strike. He moves on to 14, and the Rapids, after 3 overs of the power play, are 23 for 1.
23 for 1. The man out, Jack Haynes, who was caught by Mike running back from mid-on. Wasn't an easy catch. It was a one you'd expect to see taken, but it wasn't an absolute sitter. They had to judge it nicely, and never easy in a bright sky with the floodlights, of course, making it even more complicated. But he took it well. So it was a good breakthrough. Colin Ackerman starts a new over with a full ball to D'Oliveira, which he drives uppishly, and it defeats the fielder at mid-off. Is it Naveen?
Naveen, it is.
Because it's a nasty one, because it was in the air and it dipped on him, bounced in front of him, and he got into a really awkward position, and it bounced over him in the end and went to the boundary. So 9 off the last 3 balls for Brett D'Oliveira, and he moves on to 18. Ackerman in again, bowls to him. This one's a bit quicker and a bit flatter, and just works it up to mid-on for a single. Goes to 19, Libby 2, and in the 4th over.
I'm saying, Frank, this is the
28
pitch, the same pitch that was used on Friday. It was just, and the scores then sort of more or less 160 played 160, and that's against Notts.
Ackerman in bowls. This one a little bit short, and Libby gets in behind it, turns a bit, tried to give himself room to play it into the covers, but only managed to hit it straight to the fielder, Mike, at extra cover, no run. Ackerman again is in, bowls. Libby drives up to mid-off, this time straight to Naveen, and they take a single, puts the fielder under a bit of pressure, and then he fumbles it anyway, and they get through for a single. Possibly he's a little bit disconcerted by that one that nearly hit him in the face, really, when he misjudged it first ball of the over. 29 for 1. Ackerman round the wicket to D'Oliveira, short, and D'Oliveira pulls away on the onside, but he'll only get a single. Straight to further out there at deep mid-wicket.
Just to finish the point about the pitch, it's actually just a touch sticky. It is essentially a good wicket, but it's a touch sticky. It doesn't quite come on.
Right. Ackerman in bowls, and Libby drives off the back foot up to mid-off, where Naveen again does the fielding. He holds on to the ball because that's the end of the over. Libby has 4, D'Oliveira has 20, 31 for 1. You could say that that will, in a sense, work in the Foxes' favour, in that they'll be prepared for that. The groundsman Andy Ward has delivered exactly what and they've batted on it before. But having said that, the analysts are so hot these days that Worcestershire are probably already aware of how it played the other day, and
what's a good score
and so on.
On this pitch, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it was, I beg your pardon, it was sort of 175, 174 played 177. So 180 is a good score on this pitch. And at the moment, the Rapids 31 for 1 with 1 over of the power play. 2 overs.
2 overs
of the power play to go.
It's good 8 off the last 3, haven't they? So off each of the last 3.
Griffiths is going to come on at the Bennett end. Gavin has either been brilliant or, well, he's gone round the park in this competition this season, so we're not quite sure what to expect, but he's just shown signs of getting into a rhythm. In he comes and bowls, hit straight and through mid on. Ben Mike dived away to his left. It wasn't that far from being an outside chance of taking a catch. It was on the full, but it was very straight, and Mike would have settled for stopping it. He couldn't even do that, and as he dived away, it bounced over his reaching hands and has run away for 4. Good start to the over for Jake Libby, who moves on to 8, 35 for 1. Griffiths is in and bowls. That one comes back on Libby. He forces it out into the offside. Lilly hurls the ball at the stumps, happily. There were two men backing up, one of whom, Ben Mike, made the stop. No run. I beg your pardon, one run. Come on, Richard. One run, obviously. That's why Lily hurled the ball at the stumps. Libby has 9. D'Oliveira has 20 off 13. 36 for 1. Worcestershire. Solid start. Loss of a wicket notwithstanding. If they can get sort of 50, 55, 60 off the power play, that would be very good. In goes Griffiths and bowls. Waiting for it is D'Oliveira, dropping it out towards backward point. Patel closes on it sufficiently quickly to persuade Libby to say, wait on, and send D'Oliveira back into his ground. D'Oliveira came into the game 338 runs, the best of 69, averaging 30, so a pretty good competition for him, given he's top of the bowling averages as well. So far, a good competition. Griffiths is in, bowls to him, a full toss that's lifted into the air, should be caught at deep square leg and is moving across to deep mid-wicket. Kimber made it look easy. It was a slow, low, full toss. He almost flicked it up into the air, trying to lift it over the square leg stroke mid-wicket boundary, and Kimber took a straightforward catch once again. We've seen it so often. Full tosses can be a deadly delivery, and that one was. It was low, and he didn't quite time it. D'Oliveira goes for 20.
Yeah, I think you could tell by his body language, Brett D'Oliveira, how disappointed he was to get out to that one. Shoulders slumped, and he shook his head. He's walking off very despondently down below us now. Could have hit it almost anywhere and just chipped it up in the air. Not a massive boundary out there on that leg side, and it's a horrible way to go, but he has gone. Both openers now out for Worcestershire. Haynes for 7, D'Oliveira for 20, and he looked in really good touch, I thought, tonight, until that one, and he's been replaced by Daryl Mitchell. So Libby and Mitchell together in the power play, together fairly early on, as they were the other night, with a bit of steadying of the ship to do, I suppose.
In goes Griffiths and bowls on the legs and turned neatly away by Jake Libby down to the wide long leg boundary for 4. Poor delivery from Griffiths. Looking to tuck Libby up, it just drifted onto the leg side a little bit. There looked to be a little seam movement, but Libby played it really nicely and with fine leg up short. Naveen, no chance at all for Kimber to run around from his position in front of the manual scoreboard. Too wide long leg to make the stop. Libby playing nicely. He's hit 3 4s now. He's moved on to 13. 40 for 2 Worcester. Don't want to lose another wicket in the power play. 3 in the power play is statistically bad news, isn't it?
It is.
Griffiths ready to go, but for some reason, as he got to the crease, didn't deliver. Just ran round in a little semicircle, walking back to his mark now. Libby steps back, recomposes himself. Libby, 280 runs at 31 in the competition as Griffiths is in. Bowls to him. He's clipping it right off middle stump, really, down towards that same wide long leg boundary. Didn't get half as much on it this time, and therefore Kimber, probably a little bit of inside edge and pad. Kimber can run across and make the stop. Libby picks up a couple, moves on to 15, end of the 5th over. The Rapids 42 for 2, an interesting position.
Yeah, decent over in terms of runs scored, 11 runs coming from it, but that second wicket going down. Brett D'Oliveira out for 20. 42 for 2, yeah, as you say, Richard, a third wicket in the power play is generally considered to be bad news, but having said that, having witnessed 2 power plays, the like of which I've never seen on consecutive nights a couple of weeks ago, one at Trent Bridge where Worcestershire were 20 for 4, and then one at Headingley where Yorkshire were 18 for 4. I've come to realise that anything's possible, whatever happens in the power play. Here's Naveen from our commentary end, the pavilion end, and he bowls just short of a length outside the off stump to Mitchell, who doesn't time this as he tries to drive it off the back foot. and it goes straight to the field at extra cover. Is it still called the Pavilion End?
It is.
I have to keep on top of this. A long time since I've been on this ground, Richard. Many years. I always liked it. It hasn't changed too much. I've always enjoyed coming here. Just the way things have worked out. Still got a very traditional feel to it, which I like very much.
Yeah, open, isn't it?
And Daryl Mitchell, he'll have played here many times. Waits now as Naveen comes in from the Pavilion End, moving away from us. Number 78 on his back. He's in, past umpire Tom Lungley, bowls, and Mitchell drives sweetly on the offside, but straight to the fielder Kimber at cover point.
Evening to Springsteen. He says 140,000 at the GP, thousands at the Open, full house for the T20 at least. So why are Leicestershire limited to a few hundred?
Yeah, well, it's not just Leicestershire. There's a few counties asking that question, I think.
So there was
and
a full house for the T20 at Leeds. So how come that?
There's no logic, is there? No logic. I don't think it was a full house. Here's Naveen bowl, slower ball. Mitchell drives on the offside, straight to fielder at extra cover, has to hurry. Might have been struggling if that throw had hit as it came in from... Who is it?
It's Harry Swindles.
Harry Swindles.
If it hit, I think
very quick across the ground.
In trouble there.
He was in trouble. Might have been in. We'll never know. Anyway,
got a single. Slower balls
you'll have ever seen with Naveen, isn't it? He's varying his pace a lot, isn't he? 43-4-2 with that single. Mitchell off the mark. Libby on 15 is on strike. He's only faced 9 balls. He waits now. Does that little squat as the bowler runs in. Bowls. Another slower one. Libby waits for it. Works it behind square on the leg side for a single. And the score goes on to 44-2. Worcestershire having won the toss and chosen to bat in this must-win game. They know if they win, they go through to the quarter-final. If they don't, then their T20 campaign is over. And that would be very disappointing, given that they've played pretty well throughout this competition. Sadly, they've just had their ups and downs, but the ups have been very good, very competent performances. Just back-to-back defeats at Trent Bridge and Yorkshire Headingley a couple of weeks ago didn't help. Here's Naveen. He's in, he bowls, and that's a beautiful shot from Daryl Mitchell. Goes on the back foot and plays a perfect square drive just behind square, just wide of the fielder. Timed it expertly, and his first boundary goes to 5. He made 100, of course, during the week in the county championship game at New Road against Warwickshire, his first of the season. A welcome return to form for him. He's been in and out of this T20 side, and he's been down the order for most of the time. Just in the last 2 or 3 games has found himself coming in a bit higher up the order, and he won't have played many better shots in white ball cricket this season than that. 48-2, 1 ball left in the power play. Naveen is in, bowls, and Mitchell digs this one out, and it runs to backward square leg, short backward square leg. They pick up a single. Mitchell keeps a strike. End of the power play for Worcestershire. 49-2. So that's it's about par for a power play, isn't it? 49-2. And
might have wanted another
7 runs off that over.
Another 10, and I think they'd have been happy enough. It's balance, isn't it? I don't think either side will be too cut up with the position they find themselves in. 2 early wickets for the Foxes. 49-50 on the board for the Rapids. 2 good men gone. Jack Haynes and Brett D'Oliveira. D'Oliveira in particular batted very well against Leicestershire at New Road earlier this season. Aaron Lilly around the wicket to Daryl Mitchell, who goes back and pulls him away, makes himself a little bit of room. There is a deep mid-wicket now, of course, though. 50 up for the Rapids. Lilly is in. He'll really take the pace off it. Again, it's pulled this time out towards Deep mid-wicket again. Should pick up 2, I think, Jake Libby on that occasion, and does, because the ball went between the 2 fielders out there. Kimber ran around to his right to make the stop, but he did have a lot of ground to make up. Lily just a couple of steps and in again, pulled out towards wide, long on, stroke wide mid-wicket, and again the fielder has a lot of ground to make up to get to the ball. Kimber again, so 2 again for Libby, who's not finding the boundary, but he's picking the gaps. He's making the fielders work, therefore giving himself a chance to pick up a couple. Liddy bowls very slowly onto off stump, driven by Libby out through the vacant mid-off area, down towards long off. Single taken. Let's just say no, that 175, 180 is probably the par score. In goes Lily, cut off the stumps on that occasion by Mitchell, out towards short third man. Parkinson makes a stop on the edge of the circle, comfortable single. Singles and 2s coming, good over though, 56 now, so 7 off the first 5 balls. Can Lily get out of the over cheaply? Bowls outside off stump, has to reach for it, manages to do so. Libby should pick up 2 more as Swindles comes off the point boundary, gets his throw away. Libby picks up 2, score moves on to 58 for 2. Libby has...
Well, not all the Worcestershire followers will be aware. Here's Colin Ackerman in again to bowl, and this one's clipped away on the onside by Mitchell for a single. Takes him on to 9. I should say Richard's been involved in a charity cycle ride today, cycled 80 miles before he even got here, and has raised a lot of money for local charities. Here's Ackerman again, short, and this one is cut away off the back foot by Libby, straight to the diving fielder Naveen. It's Patel actually at extra cover, but they get through for a single anyway. Almost playing tip and run at the moment, these 2. That's not why I said it, Richard, honestly. Ackerman is in, bowls, and this one is taking Mitchell on the pad as he tries to work it away on the leg side, and there's no run. Richard's now put his shorts on over his cycling shorts, but he has raised a lot of money for charities today, and cycled 80 miles in this heat, which is a phenomenal effort. Another single here as this is played off the back foot by Mitchell to Patel at extra cover, who picks up and throws nicely on the turn, but I think Mitchell was in. It was close again though if it had been a direct hit. He goes on to 10 off 10 balls. Libby on 24 off 15. The 2 men out. Haynes for 7 and Oliveira for a fluent 20. Ackerman in again, bowls, and this one is full and driven up to long on by Libby for a single. Fielded at long on by Kimber.
It's a good job my face has been in the sun.
Gets around.
It would be very red for other reasons.
62 for 2. Ackerman, big full toss to Mitchell, who smashes it away on the leg side for 4. I wasn't going to miss out on that one. A big waist-high full toss, just pulled it away between the 2 fielders on the leg side boundary. So good finish to the over for Worcestershire, who finish it on 66 for 2 off 8. So 8 runs off that one. They've been scoring steadily. 7 off the first over, 8, 8, 8, 11, 7, 9, 8. It's been steady scoring, nothing massive. And at the moment, I suppose they're just thinking next 2 overs maybe continue to lay this foundation, and then perhaps start to try to get those totals per over into double figures in the second half of the innings. 66 for 2 after 8.
Yeah, terrible finish to the over, which had been a good over up to that point from Ackerman. Callum Parkinson back on at the Bennett end, bowls to Libby, worked by Libby off the back foot out towards deep mid-wicket, comes in to meet the ball. Louis Kimber. Oh no, it's not. It's Lewis Hill out there at the moment, I think, and a single is taken. Libby on to 26, 67 for 2. Where's the innings going to go? They've got to be a little bit patient, the Rapids. Mitchell steps back, makes room. Ackerman and Parkinson follows him, should be caught, is caught. It's chipped almost by Mitchell out towards long off. Lilly never makes mistakes in that respect. Parkinson leaps into Lilly's arms as he runs back. And Parkinson, top wicket taker for Leicestershire in T20 history, I believe now. I think he was equal previously, but he is now out on his own at the top of the table. Another wicket falls at a bad time for the Rapids. Mitchell goes, caught. Lilly bowled Parkinson 14. The Rapids 67 for 3.
So Parkinson dismissing Mitchell, who is Worcestershire's highest ever wicket taker in T20 cricket, having got 100 actually. But this time with the bat in his hand, unable to find the gap. Made room, timed it nicely, he just didn't get it where he wanted it to go. Just trying to work it a little bit wider, wasn't he? Over extra cover really, and he picked out the man that long off. Straightforward catch. All 3 catches have been taken nicely. The first, when Haynes was out, taken by Mike, was perhaps the most difficult. The other 2 straightforward. Parkinson to continue.
In he comes. Bowls to Libby, the batsman having crossed fullish and clipped out off the bottom of the bat out towards mid-wicket. Should make 2 and does. Good running, as you say, by Ben Cox on that occasion. He was running to the danger end. The fielders had a long way on this big ground to come in from the boundary by the time they did so. Cox had just about made his ground. Parkinson in again to Libby, who is pushing it out into the offside. Ackerman is the man on the push, if you like, looking to make sure there aren't any quick singles. He does make the stop. 69 for 3 remains the score. Parkinson is in, bowls, goes back, cuts nicely. There is cover out there. Bounces horribly for Ben Mike, but he picks up on the full, gets his throw away, so just a single. Libby moves on to 29, 70 for 3. Good over so far for Parkinson. A wicket and just 4 runs conceded. 1 ball left. Can he come out of the over cheaply? And he's got the new man to bowl at, Ben Cox. Top of the batting averages. In goes Parkinson, bowls to Cox, who defends calmly out to Ackerman at short extra. That is the end of the Parkinson over, and a good one for him. 3 overs now, 1 for 19 for Callum Parkinson. From the over, just the 4 runs and a wicket.
Yeah, good over from Parkinson, and just the cheapest over of the innings. Let's say that. And 3 overs, no maidens, 1 for 19. He'll be very happy with that. Bit of rebuilding to do again. Libby not finding the boundary very often, but scoring off nearly every ball he faces. Cox, an inventive batsman, more likely to play 360-degree cricket than almost any other batsman in the Worcestershire batting lineup, except perhaps Ed Barnard. He will look to use his white ball skills. Lilly round the wicket, coming in to bowl to Libby, who pushes this up to mid-off or extra cover. And I'm going to have to leave you with Richard because I have to go and do an update, Richard.
Lilly is in and bowls, takes the pace right off it, tries to drive it away. Jake Libby misses, and it just misses off stump. Inglis takes it and whips off the off bail, but Libby's back foot was still in his crease. Took 1 for 20 off 4 overs against Nottinghamshire Aaron Lilly, and you can kind of see why with the way he's bowling. Again, a very gentle delivery that is just pushed by Libby out towards long off. Lewis Hill is the fielder. Single taken. Libby on to 30 from 23, 71 for 3. That fall of that wicket has just slowed things down, as is nearly always the case. Fall of a wicket just takes the momentum away. It's not just about the wicket going. In goes Lilly, bowls, slog swept and nicely, but there is a fielder out there. Mike is out there, so it'll be just the one for Ben Cox. He's off the mark though with that single. 72 for 3. Apologies again about the cycling shorts. I've put on proper shorts over the top now. However admirable the reason, nobody wants a close-up of somebody in cycling shorts. That one is a little bit short from Lilly, cut out to Griffiths out there on the cover boundary. Single taken again, finding the fielders at the moment. The Worcester batsman, 73 for 3. Lily is in and bowls onto leg stump this time, goes back Cox and just turns it out to deep mid-wicket. In comes Swindle, single from the last ball. Another good over for the Foxes though, just the 4 runs from it, 74. For 3, and see if you like, certainly plenty for the bowlers to bowl at. At the moment they have a bit of work to do. Griffiths is in and bowls, nice drive, but half stop diving across to his right at extra cover means that Cox will just pick up 1 mark rather than the 4 he might have hoped for. Swindles was the fielder on that occasion. Lily, 2 overs for 13. Griffiths, his first over went for 11, but did pick up a wicket. That of Brett D'Oliveira, caught by Louis Kimber at deep square leg, albeit off a full toss. Griffiths is in to Libby, slower ball, but short, and waited for it, pulled it away around the corner. Has to hurry, Kimber, gets his throw away, but he did fumble once. I beg your pardon, Hill did fumble his first attempt, and seeing that, Libby called for a safe second, fielding under pressure. But as I say, it is like concrete out there, and although it looks good from up here, it is bobbly and hard, and it is not much fun to be the fielder on here. The Australians used to call it the ice rink. In goes Griffiths and bowls, driven on the out into the offside. Mike is the fielder out there, gets to him quite quickly, and he picks it up cleanly and throws in quickly as well. So just a single. Ben Cox back on strike on 3. Libby has 34 of 26. A lot depends on him now. Could do with him getting sort of 60 or 70 really minimum. Worcester here, giving the others something to sort of play around. 78 for 3. The innings isn't really exploding at the moment. Griffiths is in, short and wide, thumped out into the offside, but again picking out the field. It didn't quite come on. Cox has to settle for 1. Rehearses the cut out into the offside. He moves on to 4. Libby back on strike on 34. Lots of encouragement for Griffiths. Got every fielder on the leg side out on the boundary. He is in and bowls, and it's pulled by Libby, but out to one of those fielders, out to mid-wicket. Lily is the fielder. Leicester happy with it. 1, or sometimes even 2, but a single is a decent result for the bowling side in this competition, of course. 80 for 3. Worcester, having been 58 for 2 after 7. This the 11th coming down. So scoring is just in the middle overs, has just dropped off a little bit. Griffiths is in and bowls, come back in a little bit, and a firm push by Cox works it out through straight mid on for a single. Good over for Gavin Griffiths. He'll be pleased with that. 7, I think, from it. 81 for 3, the Rapids, after 11.
Just 2 deliveries in that over that I felt indicated that lack of pace in the pitch that you were talking about. And I know he was mixing his pace up, but that last one where Libby was through the Cox was through the shot very early, and also the one when he banged it in short and wide, and Cox normally would have cracked that away behind square for 4 over sort of gully, but got it high up on the bat and ended up hitting it straight to the fielder, as you said. This one from Lily is short and pulled straight down the ground by Cox, too long off for a single.
Welcome to listeners from BBC Radio 5 Live Sports Extra to a sun-drenched Upton Steel County Ground, Grace Road.
Aaron Lilly round the wicket, bowls to Libby, who is out stumped. Charging down the pitch, Jake Libby, most out of character, and Lilly bowling right arm round the wicket, slanting the ball across the right-hander. It was quick, it was flat, and he was beaten by it and stumped, and a long way out. So good work by Josh Inglis behind the stumps. Jake Libby perishes, played well for his 35, but as you were just saying, Richard, he needed to stay there and hold things together really if Worcestershire were going to post a really significant score. One feels, I mean, I could always be wrong. New batsman Ross Whiteley is a hard hitter and a fast scorer, but I think Worcestershire would have been hoping that Libby was going to stay there until the very late stages of this innings, but he's gone. Good bit of bowling by Lilly. I think he saw him coming, just fired it through quickly, and the Rapids are in a bit of trouble. I mean, won the toss 82 for 4 in the 12th.
Yep, having been 48 for 2 after 7. Ackerman, Parkinson, Lilly, Griffiths, and now Lilly again, just putting a little bit of squeeze on the Rapids, who we emphasise again, for the benefit of listeners to Radio 5 Live Sport Extras, have to win. They must win this game. If they do so, they will qualify for the quarter-finals. If they don't, they won't.
Lilly round the wicket to the left-handed Whiteley, who is off the mark, tickling this one away square on the leg side. Only picks up a single, did think about 2, but completes his run and just asks Lilly, are you going to stay round the wicket to the right-hander? He says, yes, I am. Just got a wicket doing that. And he is now bowling from that angle to Ben Cox, who stays at home and looks to cut this down to third man. Misses it. It's taken by Inglis, who appeals very confidently for a catch behind. He wasn't supported by the bowler. And umpire Tom Lungley, former Derbyshire seamer, is unimpressed. 83 for 4. Lilly round the wicket again. Bowls slower this time to Cox, who drives up to long off. And they take a single. Takes him on to 7. 84 for 4. Boundaries have been few and far between in this innings so far. We've had just 8 fours, which is not a huge number considering that we're nearing the end of the 12th over, which Lilly completes now, bowling round the wicket to the left-handed Whiteley, drives up to long off where Kimber does the fielding. End of another very good over from a Fox's point of view. Just 4 runs coming from it, and after 12 overs the Rapids are 85 for 4.
So 4 from the 9th, the 10th, the 11th,
7 from the 11th, I think.
7 from the 11th, beg your pardon. 4 again from the 12th.
Just going back to, from a Worcestershire point of view, the dismissals have been disappointing, haven't they? I think Haynes deceived by a slower ball, but D'Oliveira hit a full toss straight to the fielder. Mitchell made room for himself, timed it beautifully, but picked out a fielder, and Libby running down the pitch to get stumped. And the body language of the outgoing batsman often tells you how disappointed they are, and it did.
Ackerman is in, driven by Whiteley, foolish ball off stump, out to long off, single taken.
And it did in 3 of those cases. You saw the batsman walking off, shaking their heads, thinking, didn't really need to do that. Missed out.
You listen to Frank Watson from BBC Radio Hereford and Worcester as Ackerman goes in and bowls an attempted paddle sweep from Ben Cox. Doesn't come off, comes off the pad, and it just bobbles out towards short fine leg. Naveen comes in and fields. Frank Watson, BBC Radio Hereford and Worcester. Richard Ray from BBC Radio Leicester. A little bit of an open stance for Ben Cox as Ackerman goes in and bowls to him, clips it out to mid-wicket. That could be 4, beautifully into the gap from Cox. He has finally found the gap. A little bit of pressure released by Ben Cox. There are plenty of overs left for Worcester, for the Rapids to drag their score up to, you would think, the 170 that they need to feel that they can really put the Foxes under pressure. Ackerman is in again to Cox, who pulls from outside off stump, comes off a little bit of the bottom edge, so it runs out towards square leg. Griffiths feels just a single on that occasion then for Cox. 12 of 12 for him, 91 for 4. Seen both these batsmen score a lot of runs for Worcester against Leicester in pretty much every competition over the years. So in goes Ackerman, bowls, driven hard back into the stumps, and he could have run him out. He has run him out. Goodness me, Ackerman put down his left hand. He has hurt his left hand. He's running off straight away. So he's taken a wicket, but Ackerman, I think, has really done some damage. So although they have taken a wicket, there are no celebrations out there for the Foxes. Ackerman has sprinted off. He is in a lot of trouble holding his left hand. He deflected the ball onto the stumps, and Ben Cox has to go. Whiteley slammed it back down the pitch towards Ackerman, stuck out his left hand, got the wicket, but at what cost, Frank? At what cost to the Foxes?
Well, the reason I groaned when that happened is that's the third time this season that I've seen a Worcestershire batsman out like that. Second time in recent T20s. Brett D'Oliveira was out like that recently. Ben Cox couldn't believe it. Jack Haynes was out like that in the Championship at Edgbaston when he made 87. And he still hasn't made a first-class 100, and that was probably as good a chance as he got. Very, very disappointing. As you say, Ackerman's done himself some damage, and he's not going to complete the over. Ross Whiteley hits a hard ball. I was recounting a story the other day where when I was coaching him when he was in the nets in Repton School, and I used to teach there, and he hit one back and fractured the jaw of coach standing in the sort of umpire's position, and that one was along the ground, or at least lower.
Not yourself?
Put his hand down. No, not myself, fortunately, but he does hit the ball very hard, and we were talking about how umpires these days are increasingly looking vulnerable, but that one was lower, and Ackerman got a finger to it. I think he might well have broken his finger. He's gone off, and Ben Mike will continue the over.
He's in and bowled slightly short, pulled down to long leg by Whiteley for a single. That finishes the over. 92 for 5 at the end of it. So 7 runs from the over and a wicket, but have Leicestershire lost their captain? And also, although winning the game won't affect Leicestershire's sort of position in terms of qualification, they can't qualify. Ackerman are about to go off to the 100 and play for the Manchester-based team, the Manchester Originals. Can he still do so? I mean, hopefully it's just a cut or something like that, but he looked in an awful lot of trouble as soon as it happened. He was sprinting off, holding his hand, eyes raised to the heavens. If it is a dislocation or worse, then that's going to affect his chances of playing in the 100, and I don't know what the financial implications might be for Colin, but it could be that he won't be able to bat in this game, and that could be huge. He's been key for Leicestershire in recent matches.
It was desperately unlucky for Ben Cox, who looked in good touch. He'd found the boundary in that over, and you could just tell, he just could not believe it had happened again. Lilly round the wicket to bowl to Whiteley. This one is short outside the off stump and stylishly driven off the back foot by Whiteley, wide of long off, but fielder Kimber running around to his right to do the fielding means they only get a single. Whiteley goes to 5, 93 for 5, and Ed Barnard on strike. Barnard, an inventive player like Cox, who may well see him looking to play unconventional shots. Drives his first ball off the back foot, conventionally, however, straight to the fielder at extra cover. Barnard fresh from 100 in the Championship the other day as well against Warwickshire. This one is short, and he's beaten as he tries to cut it. Angled across him by Lilly. Worcestershire in a difficult position now. Overs ticking away. This is the 14th, and yet wickets falling to newish batsmen at the crease. Barnard gets a single, driving up to long on, where Kimber again is the fielder. And Lilly, well, he picked up that wicket of Libby just at the right time, and he's enjoying himself now. He's in his 4th over. He's only conceded 19 runs, just 2 balls left in his spell. It's been a good effort from him. Bowled pretty flat round the wicket most of the time. This one's a bit slower though, and Whiteley cuts and he gets 4. Gets inside it, not entirely where he intended it, a sort of thickish top edge really, but fast hands, and the ball raced away. And although it was only just a yard or 2 wide of the fielder at short third man, it's gone down to the boundary, a much needed boundary for the Rapids. 98 for 5 with 1 ball left in this, the 14th over. Lilly delivers it now short to Whiteley, who lets it go down the leg side, and it's not called him. Maybe it just flicked his hip.
Yeah, must have been.
Surprised he didn't have a go at it. On him a bit quicker than he thought, perhaps. And no call from umpire Lungley. 98 for 5, Whiteley 9, Barnard 1. The men out for Worcestershire, if you're just joining us. Haynes 7, D'Oliveira 20, Mitchell 14, Libby 35. And a couple of minutes ago, very unfortunately, backing up at the non-striker's end, Ben Cox run out when a drive from Whiteley flicked the bowler's fingers, Colin Ackerman, and went onto the stumps. Ackerman in a lot of pain, left the field, and we haven't seen him since.
Yeah, I suspect if Leicestershire were offered losing Ackerman or the wicket, they would certainly have opted for, or keeping Ackerman or the wicket, they would certainly have opted for keeping Ackerman in the side. So luck kind of worked both ways for the Foxes on that occasion. 98 for 5. Just a reminder that this is the wicket used in a game on Friday, T20 game between Leicestershire and Nottinghamshire, as Callum Parkinson comes on from the Bennett end and bowls, turns his wrists on it. Ed Bernard out towards long on it goes, takes the single, and the scores were 177 and 144. It is essentially a good wicket, but it is not quick, it is slightly sticky. Leicestershire know that taking the pace off the ball is the key to success, and I'm sure Worcestershire are absorbing that lesson at the moment, but they will want to get a score of over 160 certainly.
Struggle to get that now, I think.
Parkinson's going around the wicket to the left-handed Whiteley, who may hold a key with blows like that. High, over, long, on.
Massive.
And did that clear the roof?
Bounced on the roof.
Turner centre? No, it bounced on the roof. It's coming back down. And
bounced on the roof and went over, I think.
That did it. So into the car park it went, but what a huge blow. He is a big man, as you said, Frank, and he hits a long ball, and my word, that went a long way, and that is a classy way to bring up 100. Huge blow from a strong man.
Yeah, picked that one up really well. One of the few players in the world to have hit 6 sixes in an over, of course, Ross Whiteley, well, wouldn't he like to repeat that feat, or maybe even just 2 or 3 in one over would do the trick here, but he certainly caught hold of that one, and it bounced just 2 or 3 feet from the ridge of the roof at the far end and over into the car park. Beautiful shot. First time he's really opened his shoulders, first time he's really caught one like that for a good few weeks, actually, to be honest.
We've got a bit of
we know he's got that capability, but don't often see him catch hold of one quite as well as that. It's a long blow that was, wasn't it? That's cleared the boundary by 15-20 metres horizontally, isn't it? Having to wait for the fielder to come back.
From the other side of the turner indoors. The ball's been changed anyway.
Is it me or you?
It's you.
It's Parkinson short this time to Whiteley, who cuts this one away firmly again, hits it hard, but straight to the fielder on the cover point boundary. But you always feel the momentum can change, don't you, with a hit like that? It just changes the mood a little bit. 106 for 5 now. Barnard on strike. He waits, goes for a lovely sweep shot, which he times beautifully. And there's a very, very ordinary piece of fielding on the backward square leg boundary by Griffiths. 99 times out of 100 you'd expect a fielder at this level to field that cleanly. Was travelling, and it might well have been spinning a little bit from his left to his right, as they tend to do when you're behind square to a right-hander, but he dived and made a bit of a hash of it, and it went to the boundary. 110 for 5. Parkinson in again to Barnard, who, having seen 11 runs come off this over already, doesn't need to do anything heroic and just pushes this one up to mid-on. It's fielded there by Kimber.
Well, several games.
11 for 5.
Several games this season, won or lost by a couple of runs, and that's 3 given away.
Parkinson stays round the wicket to the left-handed Whiteley, bowls again, flat and quicker, not surprisingly, after what happened earlier in the over, and Whiteley drives this one up to long off, where it's fielded. The end of the over, good over for Worcestershire, 112 for 5. They are at the end of 14.
14 from it. End of 15.
15, I think.
Yeah. Sadly, seen some mighty hitting by Ross Whiteley over the years, and I'm not sure I've seen many bigger blows than that. That said, it takes some effort to clear the indoor centre at that far end, because it's a big old ground. Boundaries are slightly wider on either side of the wicket rather than straight, but even so, good 95 yards, something like that, I'd suggest. In old money, Griffiths owes his side 3 runs at least. He's coming on at the pavilion end. 1 for 18 from his first 2 overs, so that was okay. Lots of encouragement for him from his teammates. As round the wicket he goes to Whiteley, who cuts it away, or square drives it really off the back foot out into the offside. Well in front of square. Naveen, I think, is the fielder. Out there could be Ben Mike. Can't quite see. He's got his sunglasses on. Ben Mike, I think it is. So just the single on that occasion for Whiteley. 18 off 12 for him. Brings Ed Barnard down to the Bennett end for the first time. Takes guard. Checks Griffiths back over the wicket to the right-hander, just bobs at the knees, bowls, fullish, looking for the in-swinging Yorker. It's driven firmly out to Lewis Hill at mid-off on the edge of the circle. Always pretty much a single to the fielder on the edge of the circle. And there was. Barnard moves on to 8, 114 for 5. Key partnership came together with the score on 91 for 5. So already worth 23. Griffiths back around the wicket to Whiteley. Again holds it back. Whiteley has to wait for it, carves it out into the offside. Mike is the fielder. Single taken. Good so far in the over from Griffiths. Just the 3 singles conceded from each of the first, well, obviously the first 3 balls. 115 for 5. Try and find out during the interval what the situation is with Ackerman, but certainly no quick reappearance for the Leicestershire skipper. And it may be that he is unable to bat. He was in a lot of trouble as he left the field. Griffiths is in to Barnard. Slower ball again. Barnard waits for it, turns his wrist on it, pushes it out towards wide-ish long on. Kimber comes in quickly though, gets to the ball sufficiently quickly to prevent a second. So another single.
Kimber going from long on to long on. He's obviously the man
Specialist.
they really trust under the high ball, isn't he?
Yes, he has got a good pair of hands. He and Lilly. Ackerman, seen him take some wonderful catches at slip, and in the outfield has a pretty safe pair of hands indeed. But I suspect won't see him again. Certainly Leicestershire won't see him in anyway for a while. I wasn't scheduled to play in the Royal London Cup. Griffiths is in. Slower ball again. Whiteley confounded a little bit in hoping to get underneath it, just has to stroke it out into the offside. Parkinson is the fielder again. Good from Griffiths. Can he come out of the over strongly? Just conceded singles from each of the first 5 balls. 117 for 5. 16th over almost coming to an end. They'll be looking for 170. Maybe a few more. And if they get those, Worcester Rapids will still be very much in the game and still be in with a very good chance of reaching the quarterfinals. Griffiths is in, chipped in the air, and he's going to go for 6. Well, Griffiths can't quite believe it. He followed Barnard and looks back in disbelief because he didn't go through with a full follow-through then, Ed Barnard, but he has a very good bat. He gave Griffiths a grin, and Griffiths sort of looked back at him wryly, rather. But what a fine shot, and what a way to finish the over for the Rapids. It was good. First 5 balls from Griffiths, who stalks away in disbelief, still looking back, can't quite believe what Barnard did to him there. Beautiful piece of timing. He moves on to 15 off 9 balls, and the Rapids 123 for 5 off 16. So in the end, 11 from the over. Partnership building nicely for the Rapids. 4 overs to go. If they get 40 off them, 163 obviously. 50 then is what they'll be looking for, and they've got the right man at the crease in Ross Whiteley. Frank's popped next door to update BBC Radio Hereford and Worcester. Ben Mike is in, bowls to Whiteley, who pulls hard but cloths it slightly, thick bottom edge of the bat out towards Aaron Lilly. In the shade now at deep mid-wicket, the shade of the trees that run down that side of the ground. There's a little access road down there between the Popular Stand and the nets, the very fine nets here at the Upton Steel County Ground. Limes, I'm told most of them are, those trees, and they are in full leaf at the moment. Back over the wicket is Mike to Ed Bernard, who is waiting, pulls in the air, but he's got it wide of the man out there, the 12th man out there, Scott Steele. And so it is just 4 on that occasion, not the 6. It landed well short actually of the boundary in the end, perhaps 10 yards or so short of the boundary. 128 for 5. Bernard on to 19. Partnership continues to look promising for the Rapids. Already done a good job for their sides. Mike bowling in place of Ackerman is in. Bouncer down the leg side. He's appealing for a catch behind. Batsman didn't get anything on it. Inglis also went up as well. They making as though it maybe just flicked the glove. It didn't, said umpire Malander, and having decided it didn't, he turns and rightly signals wide. Ben Mike has been a little bit expensive with the ball in this competition. They don't use him that often. Indeed, he's been the most expensive in terms of economy rates of the Leicestershire bowlers. 13.4 overs, and his economy rate is 13. And you're kind of seeing why a little bit at the moment. Down the slope he comes, bowls to Barnard, slightly short outside off stump, waits for it, dabs it down towards third man, who's on the edge of the circle. So single to Bernard, who moves on to 19, 129 for 5. Just the 3 balls bowled legitimately of the over.
Brilliant shot for 6 by Barnard in that last over. Brilliant shot for 6 by Barnard off the last ball of that previous over, wasn't it? A check drive.
It was. Griffiths was absolutely disbelieving. He looked back at him and he kind of grinned at him.
They're not bad, these bats.
Springed. In goes Mike and bowls to Whiteley straight. Whiteley content just to block it out towards mid off Parkinson. Moves to his left of field. Single taken. 1-3-1 for 5.
I think they'd settle for 160 now, Richard, and I think it would be reasonably competitive.
Oh yeah, they'll take getting these runs. But Leicestershire would have fancied their chances, but we don't know what the Ackerman situation is. I'm pretty sure, given the way he went off, that he's not going to be able to bat.
Be surprised. That ball was travelling.
Mike is in, bowls to Bernard outside off stump. He's deceived, tries to chop it away off the back foot. Maybe a ball out of the back of the hand, maybe a slow ball. Stayed a little bit low. There's all sorts of gestures going on from Ed Bernard, so just didn't quite read it correctly. Dot ball, a rare dot ball, first certainly of this over. 1-3-1 for 5. Is in, does everything energetically, bowls, clipped away off his legs by Ed Bernard, only as far as Naveen, who's down there at square leg. He should be coming on to bowl now, I would have thought. Just a single taken. Bernard on to 21, 132 for 5 after 17. So with the wide, of course, 9 off the over. Stenchers finally find a tune on the PA that he can actually toot along to. Last wicket.
Good East Midlands music.
Yeah. 18th over.
Yep. Barnard's done pretty well, I think. Well, 21 off 13 suggests that he's done very well. He faces Naveen now with his mixed pace stuff. Lots of variation of pace, Naveen. His trademark, isn't it, in this sort of cricket?
Very much so.
Comes in now. Picked up the first wicket, that of Haynes. He's in now. That one's short and wide. Swings in a little bit. And lack of pace did deceive Barnard. Didn't really time his cut off the back foot. Almost had to wait for it after it had bounced and steered it for a single on the offside. Sort of delivery he bowls himself sometimes. 22 he goes to. Joins Ross Whiteley on that number. And it's 133 for 5 with 17 deliveries remaining. I repeat that I think they'd very much settle for 160. And it's been a case really of an innings that's never really got going. Just when there's been a partnership of any substance, a wicket has gone down. This is now the best partnership of the innings. And it doesn't seem to have been going for very long. Here's Naveen over the wicket to the left-handed Whiteley. He bowls full in the block hole. Whiteley jams the bat down on it, squeezes it up to long on, but he only gets a single. Good fielding. Fielding's been pretty good, apart from one aberration from Griffiths on the square leg boundary. And maybe Naveen was guilty of misjudging one at mid-off fairly early on. But other than that, been pretty good. All catches have been taken. 134 for 5. Third ball of the 18th over. Naveen Ulhak, number 78 on his back, moves away from us. Little spring at the start of his run-up. He bowls. Slower ball, which again slightly deceives Barnard, who ends up playing a sort of one-handed swat. Gets it away on the leg side. And again, it's just a single. Boundaries have been in short supply, generally speaking, in this innings. We've had 2 sixes, one for each of these two, and 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12 fours, which is not really a huge number when you think of a T20 innings. Lovely evening, still very warm. Most of the crowd still basking in the evening sunshine, although the Turner stand at the far end is in shade, probably mercifully cool for the spectators there as Naveen comes in and bowls short to Whiteley, who pulls, but again beaten by lack of pace, if anything, and can only really cloth it, as they say, down to Ben Mike at backward square leg for a single. And Whiteley completes that run and then stands at the non-striker's end and wafts his bat in disappointment. 136 for 5. Good over so far from Naveen. 4 singles off it. Desperate to get out of the over now without conceding a boundary. Bringing a man up from long leg inside the circle. Barnard likes a ramp. I wonder whether he'll have noticed that, or whether he'll feel there isn't enough pace on the ball for that shot. The short third man's gone very fine. He's going to be bowling pretty straight here, Naveen, and it's short, and Barnard actually plays it well. Read it, I think, gave himself room and whacked it, flat batted it over mid-off. Good shot from Ed Barnard. Important boundary for the Rapids. He goes on to 27. He's faced just 16 balls, and he's overtaken Ross Whiteley now. He's played pretty well here, Ed Barnard. Just one run away from the 50 partnership.
Every ball a slower ball. Eventually the batsman's going to read it.
Last ball, Naveen. What will he go for? I fancy the Yorker. He's got that in his locker. He comes in. He does go for the Yorker, and Barnard just squeezes it out of the block hole with the toe of the bat. Takes a single, keeps the strike. End of the 18th. 50-run partnership for these two. Barnard has 28. Whiteley has 24, and it's 141 for 5 with 2 overs left.
Biggest 2 overs of Worcester season so far, I would suggest, coming up. They might win it by 30 runs, but to do that, I think they're going to need a score of around about 170, and that's perfectly attainable if they can get 20, 25, 30 off the last 2 overs. not easy. But you've got two batsmen who are both very much in now in Whiteley and Barnard. They understand the pitch. They have Gavin Griffiths, Leicestershire's Lancashire-born seamer, to face in the 19th over. 1 for 29 from 3 for Griffiths. Comes in to bowl to Ed Bernard outside off stump, hit down hard into the ground. Griffiths put up a hand, may just have slowed the ball down. Good relay work down there on the boundary between Messrs Kimber and Swindles. Even so, Bernard picks up a couple. It's a flat batting, clubbing style Bernard has adopted against the slower ball. He's found a way, getting it away, of hitting it hard. He waits, twiddles the bat in his hand, then lifts it up as Griffiths is in. Again a slower ball that's edged down to third man for 4. Went for the big hit, the big Yahoo, took the edge, went through about second slip at catchable height. No chance for English, no chance for third man on the edge of the circle to get across. Steele that is out there runs down to the boundary for 4. 6 from the first 2 balls. Bernard a little bit fortunate, but he's earned that fortune. He will feel he moves on to 34 off 19. 147 for 5. Griffiths, little dance at the start of his run to get his feet moving, then runs in and bowls outside off stump, down to third man for 4 again from Bernard. Width from Griffiths, and yes, he can argue this a slight top edge, but it was less of a genuine edge than the previous delivery. It did reach for it. Without a third man, if you're going to bowl that wide, it is a risky delivery, and Griffiths has paid the price twice in a row. 150 up for the Rapids. They have already got 10 from this over, so they are getting on target for that 170 we've talked about. Who knows, maybe a bit more. Griffiths tosses the ball from hand to hand. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Radio 5 Live Sports Extra. The Rapids going nicely here now at the Upton Steel County Ground. There was a mid-innings wobble. Pressure was on. The squeeze went on from the Leicestershire Foxes. The Rapids have come through that now in the persons of Ross Whiteley and Ed Bernard. Whiteley has 24. Bernard is going well. He's 38 now as Griffiths comes in, bowls very slow ball to him. It floats down. He swats it out towards long on and takes 1. Bernard on to 39 from 21 balls. A gem of an innings for the Rapids, and potentially a hugely important one from Ed Bernard. 152 for 5.
Yeah, he's in good form, Barnard. Promoted to 6 in the batting lineup in the championship game against Warwickshire at New Road earlier this week, and made it his second 100 of the season and the second 100 of his career. Different game tonight, of course, but no doubt as a cricketer, confidence comes from good performance in whatever format. He will have come into this game feeling pretty good, and he's played very well. 39 off just 21.
Griffiths is in to Whiteley, who makes room, backs away, drives hard, but followed slightly by Griffiths, can only hit it out towards mid-off where Parkinson fields. I'm just trying to see what that cut-off, I think it says 7:44 underneath the 7:41 showing on the electronic scoreboard, so Leicester should be okay in that
7:46.
46, oh, so yeah, they're a good time, yeah. That isn't going to be an issue, no 5 runs extra for the Rapids from that source, but this over has been an expensive one so far for the Foxes. Griffiths is in, and it's slapped out towards long off. It bounces short. It's a no ball on height, though. Thought it might be. Griffiths got that one horribly wrong, so it will be a no ball and a free hit for the Rapids. Horror over. This is becoming for Gavin Griffiths.
Free hit for Ross Whiteley, who has hit one tonight. We estimate about 90 metres to the almost to the ridge on the roof on the Turner stand at the far end of the ground from us, and over into the car park beyond. It was massive. But since then, he hasn't really been able to get under anything. I wonder what Griffiths will try and do with this one. Will he take the pace off it? Will he try and get it in the block hole?
Well, he's gone for 15 from the over so far. And now comes the free hit. Griffiths round the wicket to Whiteley, full driven, but only as far as extra cover. They take the run, but Griffiths, well, he'll be relieved about that one not disappearing out of the ground, but it wasn't a great over. 16 from it, 157 for 5 at the Rapids, with 1 over of their innings remaining.
Well, bowling at the end of the innings, whether batting first or second, has been a problem for Worcestershire this season in the T20 competition, and they know all about the last over or two going for 20 or maybe even more, and they were hoping they can build on that 19th over there that brought 15 by getting a similar number off this last over. Naveen ul Haq is going to bowl it. No doubt he'll be mixing his pace up. He's going to bowl to the left-handed Ross Whiteley, who's on 26. He's been starved of the strike a bit recently. In comes Naveen and bowls, and that one's down the leg side, and Whiteley takes full advantage. No, he doesn't take full advantage. He missed it, but it took him on the pad, and it raced away for 4 down to fine leg. So misdirected from Naveen. Going for the Yorker, to be fair. Got the length just a little bit full, and the line just a little bit too much down the leg side. Margins are quite small, and it hit Whiteley on the pad and raced down to fine leg for 4. So the 160 that I suggested Worcestershire would be happy with when these two came together at 91 for 5 in the 13th has been achieved with 5 balls to spare. Naveen's decided after that error of line to go round the wicket to Whiteley, and he comes in now. Second ball of the final over. He's in, he bowls, and he gets that one fuller, but Whiteley reads it. It wobbled a bit in the air, to be fair, but Whiteley waited for it and smashed it straight down the ground over the head of umpire Tom Lungley at the non-strikers end. Umpire Tom Lungley, who I think must have been a direct contemporary of Ross Whiteley when he was at Derbyshire. They must have played together.
They'll be very familiar. Yep. Absolutely.
And that's just a little bit of trivia for you. Whiteley goes to 30, 165 for 5 with 4 balls left. Just breathing a bit of life into this innings.
Overs, these are.
Naveen again into the left-hander. Bowls, and that's very full and very well bowled by Naveen, considering what happened the previous delivery. So 3rd time lucky. Tried for that Yorker 3 times to the left-hander. Got it right the 3rd time, and Whiteley just squeezed it into the block hole, and it ran out on the offside for a single. 166 for 5 with 3 balls left. Barnard an excellent 40 off 22, and Whiteley now 31 off 23. Barnard on strike. Worcester, they'll be ruining their luck a little bit with that run out of Ben Cox backing up at the non-strikers end, but they'll be encouraged by this partnership, which has just given them a little bit of belief. Barnard hoping to make it a firmer belief with some heroics off these last 3 balls. Naveen, this sort of high-stepping, skipping run-up. He's in, he bowls full to Barnard, who smashes a full toss, but straight to the fielder at extra cover. Punches his bat in frustration as he completes the single, because he knows that if he'd have hit that either side of the fielder, Parkinson, it would have gone to the ropes. But it wasn't to be. He goes to 41. 2 balls left, 167 for 5. I'd say it's about par. I think Richard
on the basis of the
confirms that.
Spot on.
Yeah, with this pitch, the way it's played in recent games. A good recovery by the Rapids. Naveen round the wicket to Whiteley, bowls full. Whiteley heaves it away on the leg side and is brilliantly caught by Ben Mike. Thought he was going to get 6, but Mike, running to his left, brings off an outstanding catch. The sort of catch these days that we take for granted, the sort of catch that 10 or 15 years ago you would have said was exceptional. Running around, just kept his feet well inches inside the rope and pulled off an excellent catch. lucky for Naveen in a way, because it was a lowish full toss and Whiteley did get hold of it, but not quite getting all of it. He's gone for 31. More importantly, I think, it's a dot ball in this last over. It saved 6 indeed, because if he hadn't caught it, it would have gone for 6. And it's 166 for 6. So that partnership worth 75 between Whiteley and Barnard, and a good effort.
So 76.
Sorry.
It's all right.
It's 167. I was looking at the wrong board.
Yeah, no,
the
it's
old
a bit
board.
behind the manual.
So 76, the partnership. Naveen, last ball of the innings. He's in, he bowls, and Barnard drives up to long off. They take 1, they come back for 2, and they get 2. Despite the fact that it went straight to the field, they're always going to run 2. Ben Dorsis was the new batsman. So 2 runs taken off the last ball. Worcestershire finish on 169 for 6. Barnard finishes on an excellent 43 not out, and Dorsis, who didn't face a ball, obviously 0 not out. And for Leicestershire, the bowling figures, I'll just run through them quickly. Parkinson 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 33. Naveen finished 4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 32. Ackerman 2.5 overs before he damaged his finger, no wicket for 22. Griffiths, the expensive one, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 45. Lilly 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 23. And Mike 1.1 over, no maidens, no wicket for 10. Top scorer for Worcestershire, Barnard unbeaten on 43.
into the middle. Tom Lungley, the other umpire. The Worcestershire side even gathered below us on the edge of the boundary in front of the pavilion. Little circle. This is it, boys. We have to win this game. Ben Dwarshus leaves his hat down at what will be long on. Looks like he potentially, let's see where Ben Cox is going to go. Wants the ball. Umpire Neil Malander is going to underarm it to Cox wanders up to. So he's going to stay at this end, so it looks like Dwarshus is going to bowl from the Bennett end. Well, that gives him the benefit of the slope, gives him a bit of momentum to the wicket. The two Leicestershire batsmen out there are Rishi Patel, who is going to take first strike, and Josh Inglis. Rishi Patel, formerly of Essex, joined Leicestershire at the start of this season, or over the winter actually. At the end of last season, when he actually joined the club. his first full season. Mixed results so far, I think he would probably acknowledge. And he's been promoted to the top of the T20 order. Scott Steels, who's had a very good T20 season, left out of the last game. They just felt Leicestershire, they didn't score quickly enough at the top of the order. Maybe Patel can do better. He is going to be on strike to Worcestershire, who is in over the wicket, bowls to him, a lovely swinging delivery outside off stump, a little bit too quick for Patel, who tried to clip it away and missed it, and rather sort of lost his technique a little bit as he did so. He was on the move, Rishi Patel, falling over himself slightly. Dorcius rather exposing him with a good quick delivery, full outside off stump. The Australian left armour, little bit of swing early on. That it tends to be the way with the white ball. He's in again to Patel, outside off stump, dab down to third man and almost stopped. There is a third man. He had to run to his left to try and make the stop. Pennington out there, yep. And couldn't, well, he got there.
It was a good effort, wasn't
he
it?
got a left hand to it, but all he could do was knock it along the rope, and over the rope it went. Nice shot from Patel, nice wristy cut. There is also a slip. Mitchell, they were hoping for early wickets. He's standing at pretty much second. It went just wide of him. Dorcius is in again to Patel, who's driving very pleasantly. That is possibly going to run away. However, he is quick out there, D'Oliveira, and gets there just inside the boundary, knocks it back in. Patel and Inglis take 3. 2 nice shots from Rishi Patel. 7 without loss after 3 balls, Leicestershire. Solid start. Frank popping next door from time to time to update BBC Radio Hereford and Worcester. Their listeners agog on their FM frequency. They can also tune into the stream available on both club websites, which has the BBC commentary on it. Dorcius is in and bowls to English, who cuts hard. Brilliant piece of fielding at backward point by Brett D'Oliveira to make the stop. Outstanding piece of fielding because he hit it like a tracer. Inglis, another foot to his left, and that would have raced away to the backward point stroke wide third man boundary for 4. Inglis, 413 runs with an unbeaten century to his name in this competition, averaging 37.5. Dorcius is in, bowls to him, hits him high over mid-wicket, 4-4. Bounced just once, about 3 or 4 feet inside the ropes, and bounces into the groundsman's sort of garage made of corrugated something or other. That is where the roller lives, adjoining the manual scoreboard, or next to the manual scoreboard. Inglis moves on to 4. 11 without loss, Leicestershire. As I said, they will go hard during the power play, and these overs could hold the key if Dorcius can pick up a wicket. In he goes, bowls to Inglis, who again looks to cut. It's full outside off stump, though thick bottom edge, bounces down, a much more comfortable stop for Brett D'Oliveira. End of the over. 11 from it. Could have been worse, could have been better. Dorcius looks a little as though he's not quite sure of it. Foot placement in his run-up. Presses away at behind the stumps out there at the Bennett end. End of the over anyway, 11 without loss, 7-2. Rishi Patel from 3 balls, 4 to Josh English. Also obviously from 3 balls. It is going to be Nathan Pennington, blonde-haired Pennington from the pavilion end. Picks up the marker. Rather old-fashioned to use a marker these days, you would have thought. So many little spray marks. Most bowlers use those these days. Pennington, right arm over, is in. To Patel, goes past the outside edge, feeling for it a little bit there. Rishi Patel didn't do too much to the ball. It was a good length ball, brought Patel forward. Might just have held its own off the seam. Did enough. Just played down the wrong line, essentially. Patel there, perhaps trying to work it down to third man, and seeing that, Worcestershire decide to post Mitchell back into that second slip position. Pennington is in. Patel, leading edge, who is looking to work that on the leg side. Might have been a slightly slower ball. Turned his wrist on it too soon, came off the leading edge. Pennington sprawled to his left to make the stop. Starts with 2 dot balls. Good from Pennington. Who turns. Runs away from us and bowls slightly short, but again looking to chop it away on the offside, goes past the top edge this time of Rishi Patel's bat. 3 dot balls. Great start to the over for Pennington and for the Rapids. Dylan Pennington, Shrewsbury born. Dylan Young Pennington, bowled down the leg side, clipped in the air, caught! Brilliantly caught at short fine leg on the 45, really was in the air. Patel can't quite believe it was plucked out of the air, 2 hands away to his left. A really good catch there. Important, very important for the Rapids to keep picking up wickets. That would have been 4 had it not been plucked out of the air. Really nice catch, Pennington. What an over this is proving to be. So far, it's a wicket maiden in the power play. Ben Dwarshus, I should have added, was the catcher. Needed to be a big man, but he made it look fairly straightforward. It wasn't straightforward because it was travelling as well to his left. He didn't dive, just put out 2 big hands and plucked it out of the air. And Patel goes. Dylan Pennington's over continues in spectacular style. Can he make it a wicket maiden? Can he finish? Or who knows, a double wicket maiden?
Well, he had some
finish with 2 dot balls.
He had some remarkable figures, Richard, at Trent Bridge earlier this year when at one stage he'd taken 3 for 4. I think his last over went for quite a few and dented those figures, but been quite a good campaign for the young seamer, and as you say, good over so far. It was a good catch, wasn't it?
It was. I say, make it look straightforward, but it wasn't, because it was travelling and it was well away to his left. But unfussy take by Dwarshus, 2 big hands. Pennington is in to Aaron Lilly, can only defend it on off stump, drops it back down the pitch. Pennington, wicket, wicket maiden in the power play.
So your assessment, Richard, would be that this is the absolute key partnership.
Yeah, but it is now. Now there's no Ackerman. Absolutely, potentially the key partner. You never quite know, but Inglis and Lilly together, they have been very much, well, they're the 2 at the top of the batting averages in this competition for the Foxes. Pennington is in, and it is a wicket maiden because it's outside off stump. Lilly wasn't quite sure what to do with it, did nothing really, sort of pushed at it a little bit indecisively, went underneath his bat through to wicketkeeper Ben Cox, and Dylan Pennington has bowled a wicket maiden.
Yeah, wicket maiden in T20 is a rare delight for a bowler, isn't it? And as I say, Pennington, unbelievable performance at Trent Bridge a few weeks ago when he, at one stage, as I say, had ridiculous figures of 3 for 4 or something, and wasn't able to, well, as I say, the last over, actually it wasn't at Trent Bridge, at Headingley, I beg your pardon, and his last over was expensive, but a great start for him. It's all about tonight as far as Worcestershire are concerned. They need to win this game to go through. If they don't win, they won't. Charlie Morris is replacing Ben Dwarshus at the far end. He comes in now and bowls a full-length delivery, which Inglis punches away on the onside and picks up a single. Josh Inglis goes to 5, and Aaron Lilly comes on strike for the first time. 12 for 1 in the third. And there's quite a bit of tension. I think you can kind of feel it, really. I don't know whether I'm imagining it, but quite tense around the ground. The Worcestershire players are obviously quite pumped for this. They know what they've got to do. And Morris coming in now from the Bennett end to bowl to Lilly. Bowls right in the block hole, and that's nicely bowled by Charlie Morris. Slightly slower as well. And Lilly digs it out, and it goes back up to the bowler. and there is no run. So 12 for 1. Earlier today, Worcestershire faltering throughout the first half of their innings, and when Barnard and Whiteley came together in the 13th over, the score was 91 for 5, but they then added 76. Morris in, bowls, another slower ball, which Lilly picks, waits for, and it's a biggish full toss in the end, and he punches it down the ground for his first boundary. He won't hang around, these two, one way or another. They are going to let us know the outcome of this key partnership, because they only know one way to play really in white ball cricket, Lilly and Inglis. Morris, food for thought as he comes in now. Fourth ball of his over, he's in, he bowls, and Lilly gives himself room and smashes this one high for 4 more over the offside. Length ball from Morris in the slot. Lilly just giving himself room and timed it beautifully over cover. So Charlie Morris trudges back to his mark, having gone for successive boundaries. We've had 3 very contrasting overs really in this innings. Dorcas's first went for 11, then we had a wicket maiden from Pennington, and now Morris has gone for 9 of the first 4 balls of his first over. In again now, running towards us, right arm over the wicket. He's in, he bowls, and Lilly gets 4 more, giving himself room, giving width, and slaps it away through extra cover. It was in the air, but between the 2 fielders, the one at mid-off, the one at extra cover. And Charlie Morris in need of a little bit of solace, I think. Dorcas going over from mid-on. Maybe to have a little word with him. Gets the ball, and indeed just says, come on, mate, keep your head, don't worry. Morris, having conceded 12 off 3 balls. 24 for 1, the Foxes in the third. 170 the target. Morris is in, and he bowls, and Lilly smashes that straight down the ground for 4 more. It's turned into a really, really good over for the Foxes. Charlie Morris being hit for 4 consecutive 4s, and at the end of the over, the Foxes, with 17 runs having come off that over, 28. Eight for 1 off 3. So you've got to follow him, I think, really.
You do a little bit. So as you say, what a contrast. Pennington's wicket made. Morris's 17 off the over. 28 for 1. It's the T20 for you. Overs swing the game one way or the other. Pennington continues bowls straight to Inglis, who defends 7 balls without conceding a run for Dylan Pennington now in this match. What's the record for least runs conceded in a T20 match?
Well, I was recalling that innings at Headingley. It was just checked. It was 4 for. He had 4 for none in 2 overs at one stage. It was bizarre.
Pennington in. Bowls pushed out into the offside by Inglis. Diving stop across to his right at short extra cover. 8 balls. Pennington, you've now been conceding a run.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, two couple of tight overs now that only concede 2 or 3, and you forget the damage that's been done in that over previously, don't you? It can swing so quickly.
Exactly that.
Yeah, and especially if you get a wicket.
Pennington is in. Bowls edge down to wide third man for 4. Well, not going to be another maiden or another wicket maiden, but a little bit of a moral victory for
Could have gone to
Pennington there. It was something of a desperate drive. It was nowhere near the pitch of the ball. Inglis got a little bit lucky. Thick edge went in the air, but wide of the man at short third, and out to the wide third man boundary for 4. Inglis on to 9. Leicestershire 32 for 1. Pennington in. Bowles edged down to third man, but deliberately this time by Josh English. Just enough width. It was arrowing maybe an inch or two outside off stump. That is all, but Inglis just waited and dabbed it, and it went wide of wicketkeeper Cox. I think he knew what he was doing there, Inglis. It looked like a deliberate shot, unlike the previous delivery. So 2 fours, consecutive balls, 36 for 1 Leicestershire. Moon above us, high in the sky, looks beautiful here at the Upton Steel County Ground. Pennington is in, a little bit short, dabbed off the stumps. I said it didn't really get up by Inglis, but only as far as it's usually D'Oliveira backward point, isn't it? I think it is again on that occasion. Ryan Dawson in touch on Twitter. He thinks that Steele averaging 33.5 at the top this season, striking at 121 plus his excellent economy rate with the ball, would have justified his continuing selection. In goes Pennington. Bowles on the legs this time, turned by Inglis out to deep square, going to settle for 1 because it's the end of the over. He keeps the strike. He has 13 off 9. Lilly has 16 off 7. 37 for 1 off 4. Leicestershire.
To the signal, and Worcestershire captain is disappointed, but it's a wide. 38 for 1. Dorset struggling with the change of line change of his line around the wicket to adjust the line of the deliveries. In now, Bowles, and this time it's hammered in the air by Inglis and dropped at short extra cover by Daryl Mitchell, I think, diving to his right. It was hard, it was low, he got 2 hands to it. Very good on the wicket to adjust the line of the deliveries. In now, Bowles, and this time it's hammered in the air by Inglis and dropped at short extra cover by Daryl Mitchell, I think, diving to his right. It was hard, it was low, he got 2 hands to it. Very good catcher, but it was really travelling, couldn't hold on to it, sort of thing that might make all the difference. And Inglis survives. Dorset in again to him now. Bowles, and he goes big over mid-on this time. That's in the slot, and that's all the way to the Bennett end for 6. So that drop already looking expensive. Mitchell ruefully rubbing his hands, still smarting. He really was travelling, not by any means suggesting that it was an easy catch, but on such things games turn, and Inglis rubs salt into Mitchell's metaphorical wound by hitting the next ball over long on for 6. Dorset is in again, and Bowles, and he's beaten a big swing from Inglis here and holds his head in his hands. That one must have passed extremely close to the off stump. Inglis is one of those where he would, when he missed that, he would have been waiting for the death rattle, and he survived again by a lick of paint. So Worcester might well feel that things are not going their way tonight, especially with that run out of Cox earlier on, backing up at the non-striker's end. But you make your own luck over a campaign. Dorset bowls to Inglis, who heaves this one away square on the leg side for a single, and he moves on to 17, and the total to 45 for 1. Has it already gone on? Has he moved on to 16 yet? No, sorry, beg your pardon. Inglis is 21. Lilly is 16. I beg your pardon. It's 44 for 1. And Lily, 16 off just 7 balls. They came off 4 consecutive shots. Waits now as Dorcas is in and bowls to him, and he plays a very clever little dab down to third man, knowing that this over is already won, in inverted commas, with the boundary hit by Inglis. End of the over from Dorcas. Lily has 17, Inglis has 21. We have 1 over left in the power play, and the Fox is in good shape, 45 for 1, with 8 having come off that over.
Inglis and Lily in discussions. They will obviously know that Ackerman is most unlikely to bat. Just to remind you that Ackerman clearly suffered a bad cut, possibly the webbing of his hand, between his thumb and his finger, but he's had to have stitches in his hand. He was effecting a run out at the time when Ross Whiteley drove the ball back hard to him, but he paid a high price. In goes Pennington, bowls and goes between Lily and the stumps, as once again, as he always pretty much does, he made a little bit of room and tried to dab it away. Taken by Cox, no run. Pennington 1 for 9 from 2.1 overs. 5 balls left in the power play. Rapids power play yielded 49 for 2 as Pennington is in. Bowls hit back over his head, clothed rather, and as a consequence able to move to his right and make the stop is Nisodi. Interesting to see what he gets out of the pitch. Will he take? He tends to fire it in a little bit, doesn't he? And in this competition,
well, he mixes it up a bit in this competition. Yeah, bowls it a little bit, a bit more, with a bit more variety than he does in red ball cricket. I've only seen him play 1 red ball game, which was this week.
Pennington is in, ramped by Inglis over the wicket keeper, but again he didn't really get all of it, and able to run across from third man and make the stop is Dwarshus, possibly out there in front of the tent containing my compadres of the road this morning, all with their feet up, I trust. Red faces, sun and wind burnt. What a magnificent effort to keep going, albeit that one of them whisper it had an electric bike. 47 for 1 as Pennington is in, hit up in the air by Lily, should be caught by Sodhi at mid-off, is caught by Sodhi at mid-off. Lily goes, could be a huge moment. Pennington is proving absolutely deadly with the ball. For the Rapids, he now has 2 for 11 from 2.4 overs. Leicestershire 47 for 2.
Big catch that, wasn't it? Wouldn't have fancied being under it personally. Clear skies, not the easiest to catch out of. You haven't got anything to sort of sight the ball against. Often heard players say they'd rather catch out of a cloudy sky. But Sodhi, underneath that, absolutely rock solid. I must say, he made it look a very straightforward catch indeed. It went up a long way. As you say, Pennington, the key man, has picked up his 2nd wicket. Lily has gone for 18. It's 47 for 2. And, well, it's anybody's game as we near the end of the power play.
Lewis Hill comes in. Would normally could be Colin Ackerman coming in at number 4 for the Foxes, but Lewis Hill has come in. I think it confirms really that Ackerman will only bat absolutely in extremis, I think. Pennington is in 2. Inglis bowls down the leg side. A rare poor delivery, or misdirected delivery at any rate, from Dylan Pennington, and the wide is duly signalled.
A couple of times this season Worcestershire have had T20 innings where they haven't had any extras at all, which has been, a feature of when they've played really well in this competition. It's not going to happen tonight.
Pennington in again, to Inglis, wide again outside the off stump, reaching for it. Inglis, you must have been very close to being a second consecutive wide there,
just on the line, I think. He was a bowler, Tom Lungley, wasn't he? You see, there you go. He's in sympathy with Dylan Pennington. Just on the line, looking at the replay, very close.
Long long leg, or short fine leg goes back to long leg, which means third man comes into the edge of the circle. Pennington is in, goes back on his stumps and turns it. Inglis out towards square leg. No, says the Australian voice, having completed his single. End of the over, another cracker. From Dylan Pennington, who has 2 for 30.
Already shown tonight. Ish Sodhi, the Kiwi, in to bowl to him. Bowls, and his first ball is edged to short third man. I thought it was going to run away for 4, but it's actually gone straight to Ben Dorcius. Hurried on a little bit off the pitch, that one. Sodhi, who took 6 wickets in the first innings of the championship game against Warwickshire at New Road recently, bowling very, very differently from how he does in T20 cricket. He's in now and bowls. That one's quick and flat outside the off stump. It is called wide by umpire Malander, just outside the little blue guideline. Fizzed on a little bit, that one, into the gloves of Ben Cox. So the 50 up for the Foxes in the 7th over, and Sodhi in again, bowls, and that's big. That's smashed away by Inglis in the slot, heaved away over long on. And that's what I mean about Joss Inglis. As long as he's there, he's a dangerous, dangerous striker of the ball. So hard did he hit that one that he's damaged his bat, I think, and he's just waved to the pavilion for another one. He's gone to 29 off 20 balls. Ish Sodhi, hands on hips, ponders his plans as he prepares to bowl now to Inglis, who I think is going to wait until his new bat is brought out before he carries on here. The music blaring out across the ground.
This could be Inglis's last innings for Leicestershire. It is for this season.
And it could be Sodhi's last game for Worcestershire.
And at Grace Road as well. So
here they come. Not just 1, but 3. Do you want the big hitting bat? Do you want the one you like slapping it square with? Do you want the one that's a bit lighter so you can go, I'll have that one, he says. Yep, that's the one. Happy with that one. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's changed his mind. He's probably got a little number or a little letter on the top of each one, and that's what a lot of batsmen have. 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that, and he'll have chosen the one he wants, and he thought he got the right one, but he's changed his mind.
What are the odds that he's chosen the one he had out there already? Because he had 3 to choose from.
He'll know as soon as
which is the crap one.
He'll know as soon as he hits the next one, I think. That one went a long way over the boundary to long on. 29 English. You're not missing any cricket because he's changed his bat. Sodhi coming in from the Bennett end now. 56 for 2 as he bowls, and it's all rather more sedate as English goes back and cuts away on the offside for a single. So Worcestershire and Leicestershire exactly the same power play, 49 for 2, but things went awry for Worcestershire a little bit later. They were 91 for 5 at one stage before a good partnership for the 6th wicket between Barnard and Whiteley. Barnard made 43, Whiteley 31. Worcestershire eventually totalling 169 for 6. Sodhi comes in and bowls to Hill, who gets in a tangle with this one, looking to pull it away on the onside. Kept a little bit low, hurried on the googly or top spinner, not quite sure, but it fizzed on, and it did him, and he got away with it. Actually, must have got a little bat on it. I thought he might even have bowled him at one stage, but our view was obscured by wicketkeeper Cox, were almost right behind the arm, and this one again is a googly, I think. Certainly not a leg spinner. This one coming back into him, and he gets a bottom edge as he tries to give himself room and tries to tuck it away on the onside and doesn't get any reward. 57 for 2. Sodhi in again, bowls. This one's quicker, flatter, and he does pull it away on the onside, and he will get one. Will he come back for 2? He won't come back for 2 because there's good fielding out on the boundary from Ed Barnard. Keeps them to 1. End of the over. Hill keeps the strike. He is on 1. Inglis, the dangerous man, as far as Worcestershire are concerned, is on 30, 58 for 2 after 7.
Which is, of course, exactly the same. I've got a feeling this is going to go quite close. The Worm being shown on screen at the moment, and of course it is following to perfection that of the Worcestershire innings at the moment. Hill kept the strike with that. Leicestershire then need 112 runs off 13 overs, 8 wickets in hand. But do they have 8 wickets in hand? Would Ackerman bat? It's most unlikely. Hill, 1 off 3, was confounded by Sodhi really. Mitchell is in, bowls to him. This could be his sort of wicket. Hill waited for it, bunted it out towards long off, who came in to meet the ball. It's Haynes out there, came sprinting in. Jack Haynes, quick across the outfield. Ground tense at the moment. Mitchell is in, tosses it up, clipped. Bit fuller this time, so Inglis able to sort of get to the pitch hit, clip it out to long on. The fielder again comes running in to meet it. In this case, it's Ben Dwarshus. 60 for 2. Sun very, very bright. Out there still, floodlights on though, moon very visible as in goes Mitchell and bowls, chipped in the air, caught! Mitchell dived across to his right, Hill mistimed it, looking to hit it on the onside. It looped up, it had a lot of ground to make up to his right to get there, Mitchell, but Mitchell made it. And another wicket has fallen. Lewis Hill goes. Caught and bowled. Foxes 60 for 3. Keep picking away there. Worcester knowing, of course, Ackerman cannot bat. Hill goes for 2. Caught and bowled. Daryl Mitchell. Come out now. It probably will be Swindles. It is Swindles. Again, emphasising the fact that Ackerman is just not going to be in a position to make any sort of really useful contribution, other perhaps than come in at the end of the innings and try and hold up an end if he possibly can. 60 for 3. Inglis standing alone at the moment for Leicestershire, and while he's still there, Worcestershire cannot quite relax. 31 of 22 for the Australian, born in Leeds in West Yorkshire. Mitchell is in, bowls, Swindles waits and waits and then turns it out towards deep mid-wicket, content to take 1. With a message from Paul Nixon, take it deep, take it deep. Just keep picking up the 1s and 2s and hope that Inglis comes off. Time and again, he's got to sort of 30 or 40. Hasn't always been able to go on. Can he do so this time? Mitchell bowls short, and it's steered rather cleverly away by Inglis into the gap between backward point and short third, out to the wide third man boundary. 4-4, looks absolutely determined in his last innings for the Foxes to make what could be a decisive contribution. He moves on to 35, 65 for 3.
Yeah, he just seems to find the gap all the time, doesn't he, Inglis? Key wicket, absolutely
key. Mitchell to finish his over is in. Inglis must have been tempted to try and get under that. In the end, waited and just drove it out to Jack Haynes at long off. Takes 1, keeps the strike. 66 for 3 after 8 at this stage. Well,
it's incredible, isn't it?
Slight change in that Worcester Rapids was 66 also, but for 3.
For 2.
Of course, for 2. I beg your pardon. So that's the difference.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily close. It really is extraordinarily close. It's a cracking game in that sense. It's just a bit tense if you're a Worcestershire fan and you want to see Inglis removed. He's facing Sodhi now, having kept the strike. Sodhi is in, bowls, and this one's short and turned quite a long way and was taken by Ben Cox outside the off stump. And There is no addition to the score. Just trying to get my live stream back so I can see some replays. Inglis then, 36 off 25. He waits. Sodhi is in. Bowls, and he heaves this away on the leg side. And, brilliant piece of fielding out there at long on by Ed Barnard. Absolutely top draw fielding. Charging around to his left. Dived at full length, two-handed. Saved it. It would have flown 20, 30 yards past him for four had he not done. And so he's hurt himself a little bit. I think he's landed on his knee, but he managed to spring to his feet and return it. Great bit of fielding.
The throw was absolutely accurate as well.
So just a single, and Swindell's now on strike. Faces Sodhi. Barnard struggling a bit with that knee as Swindell's goes for a big hit on the leg side and just gets a bottom edge, and it runs down to short fine leg for a single. So Harry Swindell's off the mark. Oh, he's already off the mark. He goes to 2, and it's 68 for 3. Inglis back on strike on 37. Just feel it's all about Inglis now, really. If they can get him out, Worcestershire will feel they've got a real chance. Sodhi is in, bowls, and Inglis drives on the offside. Through the gap, he's going to get 2. D'Oliveira racing around from long off, tumbling stop, springs to his feet, returns to the bowler's end. Good fielding again, but 2 more for the dangerous Josh Inglis. 70 for 3, the Foxes. So another 100 runs exactly are required off 11.2 overs. It's absolutely on a knife edge, this one. Tension around the ground as Sodhi is in and bowls, and heaved away on the leg side again by Inglis, and this time Barnard can't get there, and that's a very, very important boundary in the context of this over for Josh Inglis. Just puts the Foxes marginally in front, you feel, and takes the score on to 74 for 3 in the 9th, and it puts them ahead on that comparison that has been so close so far. Sodhi in, looking to change things, bowls, and this one's a top spinner which fizzes on very nicely and defeats Inglis as he goes back, tries to cut it. End of the over, he will be off strike. 9 overs gone, 74 for 3, and as I say, anybody's game. I do think it all depends, well, not all, of course, that would be disrespectful to the rest of the Leicestershire Foxes batsmen, but much depends on Josh Inglis, whether he can go on from his current 43 off 29 balls.
2 batsmen touch gloves in mid-pitch. Harry Swindles has been in very good form in red ball cricket this season. A splendid and huge undefeated century against Somerset at Taunton a week or so ago.
Brett D'Oliveira replacing Mitchell.
In he goes, tosses it up, chipped in the air down towards long on by Swindles. Will settle for one as Dwarshus comes in, throws to Cox. Single taken, 75 for 3. D'Oliveira is in, bowls a little bit short hit in the air, just wide of the fielder running back from backward point, and also too short for Bernard to get in from the cover boundary. Could easily have gone to hand, it didn't. Inglis survive.
Excuse my groan.
Picks up one, moves on to 44, 76 for 3. D'Oliveira is in. Swindles waits, goes back, turns it out towards deep mid wicket. In chases the fielder, and he had to chase as well, had to get there, did so. Ross Whiteley it was, out there, moves fast for a big man. 77 for 3, Swindles 4 off 4, doing his job so far. Inglis waits as D'Oliveira is in, bowls, hits hard, drives, but bounces well short of long off. You heard a little shout of frustration from Inglis there. It did sound a little bit tinny as it came off the bat. He was looking to hit it much wider out towards the deep extra cover boundary, well wide of Jack Haynes, who made the stop. Singles from the first 4 balls of the over then. D'Oliveira is in again. Swindles is waiting and just turning it out towards Whiteley at mid-wicket. Went a bit more quickly to Whiteley this time. Absolutely no chance of a cheeky 2. 79 for 3. 1 ball of the over to come. Vital that D'Oliveira just concedes 1, or obviously dot ball preferred, wicket preferred, but he doesn't go for a boundary. 5 from the overs so far. From Worcestershire's point of view, reverse sweep and straight to the fielder at backward point from Inglis. Hit it cleanly enough. Pennington made the stop. End of the over. Good one from Brett D'Oliveira. Gets a pat on the behind from Ben Cox. 79 for 3 at halfway point. Leicestershire at the halfway point. Worcestershire 74 for 3. Continues to be nothing in it.
Yeah, good over from D'Oliveira. Bit of a gamble here, I think. Pennington is going to bowl his last over from the Bennett end. He's bowled really well so far. The tall, young seam bowler. 3 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 13. And he's going to bowl him out now. And then, well, it'll be interesting to see what Ben Cox does with his bowlers in the second half of this innings, with Pennington finished. Pace off has been the way in terms of what we saw mainly from the Foxes, and Naveen with his variety of slower balls, but Pennington with his pace on, we could call it, although I'm not saying he hasn't varied his pace, but he is the quickest of the Worcestershire bowlers in this game, and he's been most effective so far. Hasn't bowled from the Bennett end before. He's in now and he bowls, and this one's worked by Swindles off his pads for a single to backward square leg. Jack Haynes comes in to do the field at 80 for 3. Swindles moves on to 6. Happy to give the bowling to Inglis. Swindells, I should say, shouldn't I? Not Swindles. Makes him sound like a scam artist. Here's Pennington in down the leg side to Inglis. Goes for a big hit, and Neil Mallander has a look at it and thinks, yeah, sorry, I've got to call it a wide. He didn't hurry to do so, but a wide it was. 81 for 3. We're in the 11th over. 170 is the target. Josh Inglis 45 off 32 balls. Waits now as Pennington is in. Bowls make that 51 off 33 balls, as this one is short, and he swivels round and pulls it for 6 over the fence, I think, and
I think it bounced over it down into the Millingham Road.
Over into the Millingham Road.
To somebody's garden.
Ben Cox runs from his position behind the stumps to have a word with Pennington.
33 balls.
50 for Inglis.
Yeah, 33 balls, 5 fours and 3 sixes for the Australian. Fine knock, and his second half-century in the competition this season to go with his unbeaten century at Wantage Road against Northampton.
I find it hard to believe he's only got 2. It's incredible. I thought he'd got more than that. But,
lots of 30s and 40s.
Dangerous striker of the ball. And having to get a new ball because that one's gone off down the road somewhere. Tom Lungley coming down to select one from the box, brought out by the 12th man. 87 for 3. It's all about one man at the moment. Josh Inglis, if they get him out in the next 4 or 5 overs, Worcestershire will feel they can get back into the game. If they don't get him out in the next 4 or 5 overs, the Foxes are going to be very, very close.
I don't know if you remember when you were last here, there used to be a big wall down there on that side of the ground, but they brought it down and just put railings instead to make it more open, the ground, and it does look much more open as a consequence, but it does mean that those houses aren't always protected.
Here's Pennington with a newish ball, or a newer ball. Comes in, he's got the same weight. 6 more for Inglis. Over square leg this time.
Into the road.
This time it was a pickup. It was a fuller ball. The last one was short. This was a full one. And Inglis has played the drop kick, as the batsmen call it, just picking it up on the half volley and lifting it over square leg. Big shot, big 6. He's in the mood tonight, Josh Inglis. 57 of 34 balls. And Worcestershire desperately need to remove the Australian if they are going to qualify for the quarterfinals. It's looking as though he holds the key.
Gentleman retrieves it from one of the front gardens of the houses on the opposite side of Milligan Road. He actually missed the businesses, which sometimes get clattered over there.
Josh Inglis then. Happy with the bat that he changed, no doubt, after those two. Waits, Pennington in, bowls to him, and he drives on the offside. This time a good diving stop by D'Oliveira at backward point. More worryingly, perhaps, for Ben Cox is that his gamble of bringing Pennington back to bowl this fourth and final over of his spell at this point, just the 11th of the innings, hasn't really paid off with those two sixes. Well, yet. Still could all change.
A delivery left to bowl. Two deliveries because of the wide, of course.
In he comes now. Pennington again, he bowls, and this one is driven by Inglis off the front foot through the gap between cover and extra cover. Ross Whiteley does the fielding on the offside boundary, and there is just one run taken. English 58 now, 94 for 3, and Pennington to bowl to Swindells, who is on 6. And he bowls, and Swindells is now on 7 as he clips this one down to fine leg. Where it's fielded by Sodhi. It's the end of the over from Pennington.
But it didn't look like his bat was anywhere near. It looked to be coming off the front pad of Swindells as he poked nervously forward at that one. And immediately umpire Lungley just... he's not a demonstrative umpire, but he just kind of looked away. And immediately the appeal was choked off. Sodhi from the pavilion end in, swept from outside off stump by Swindells out to deep backward square, takes one. So as I'm aware, all his runs have come in singles now, Harry Swindells. 8 of them off 9 balls, 7 of them, or 8 of them, the electronic scoreboard is going slowly again. 8 of them off 9 balls, 96 for 3. Leicestershire 170, the target. 74 more runs needed. Sodhi is in. Inglis smacks it back over his head, but not quite as hard as I thought he had initially, and able to make the stop running away to his right. At long off is Jack Haynes. Inglis on 259, 97 for 3. They've got themselves slightly ahead of the game, Leicestershire here. They could arguably stop taking quite as many risks, but I just don't think that's the way Inglis plays. Sodhi is in and bowling again, attempting to sweep is Swindells. It bounces and he misses the sweep, thumps into almost the thigh pad. He's not a tall man, Harry Swindells, and he went down on one knee. He's going to bounce down the leg side, so no appeal. 97 for 3 remains the score. Swindells not quite sure what to make of Sodhi, who is in and bowls. Conventional leg spinner. He goes back and turns it wristily out towards deep mid-wicket. Whiteley comes in with that bullet-like throw. Left arm, of course. I hate to be a wicketkeeper. They throw it so hard these days. Maybe the gloves are that much better as well, but I think of some of the gloves that wicketkeepers I've played with have had to use over the years. Battered old things that they extract from the bottom. They didn't always in the old days have their own wicket-keeping gloves. Sodhi is in. Back goes Inglis and cuts pleasantly. Yeah.
Keeper's fingers for you.
There you go. Out to the boundary where Bernard is the fielder, and the single is taken.
Yeah, I've got a few. Nice, that's an even better one. Yeah, I was a keeper.
That's a couple of dislocations. Doing what Ackerman did. Ackerman, incidentally, the cut is apparently on the top of his left big finger. That's just had 2 stitches in there. So 71 needed off 8 with 7 wickets in hand. The equation beginning just to tilt in favour of the Foxes.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
Inglis is there.
Definitely, I'd say so. It looks a different game when he's facing to when anybody else is facing.
Just 4 off that one.
But just 4 off that one, yeah. But it looks a different game when he's facing. Brett D'Oliveira is going to bowl from the Bennett end. And he's going to be bowling to Inglis. He bowls and Inglis goes back and pulls away on the leg side. Barnard, the fielder, out there at deep mid-wicket. Good throw back from him. Another one who fires it in. Whiteley, as you say, really does bullet them back. Graham Hick used to absolutely fire it in. Used to take pleasure in watching the keeper's discomfort when he fired his throws in. I think these days they're just all good at it, aren't they, those guys that get out in the deep. D'Oliveira bowls. Swindell sweeps. Groan from D'Oliveira, because if he'd have missed that, I think they'd have been up in a big shout, but they get a single as Sodhi fields at backward square leg. It's tense. It's all about Inglis, but if he's in for much longer, it'll be he'll have done too much damage, I think. 101 for 3. D'Oliveira to bowl to the right-hander now. Bowls. This one's quick, and he's smashed it away for 6 more. That is huge. Right to the back of the family stand, away at the far end of the ground. It was flat, it was quickish, but Inglis is a small man. He gets under it. Once he gets under it, fast hands, big bat, and that was massive. So Inglis taking this game away from the pairs, from the Rapids at the moment. He's on 67 off 40. Swindell's happily just ticking along at the other end, 10 off 12. Worcestershire have to get rid of Inglis if they are to qualify for the quarter-final. If they don't do it soon, it'll be too late. D'Oliveira is in. Bowls again now. This one really is quick and flat, and if he'd have picked that up, he might have had a chance of running Swindell's out as they went through for a single. The bowler did his own fielding, moving away to his right, but he didn't pick it up clean. He's given one chance. Swindell's dropped by Mitchell at extra cover off a really hammered Inglis, a really hammered flat-footed drive early on in his innings. Here's D'Oliveira again, bowls. This one again, he's quick. Swindell's works it away for a single. Clever batting. Give the strike to Inglis, and he does that successfully and moves on to 10. 108 for 3. Sorry, Richard, I think I cut you off.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying the partnership's approaching 50, of which Swindell's has 11.
D'Oliveira in, bowls, quick, outside the off stump. Ooh, controversial from Neil Malander, I think. Well, it was outside the blue lines, but he played well underneath it, didn't he?
Yeah, he'd stepped right across as well. So
yeah, he had. I think that was a bit of a harsh call, that one, and the players looked a bit surprised. D'Oliveira again, bowls, heaved away on the leg side by Inglis. He'll keep the strike. Barnard, the fielder at deep mid-wicket, end of the over. 50 partnership is up. 111 for 3, so 12 runs off the over, and the target is just 170. It's looking all about one man, really. He's made batting look easier than anybody has tonight, except perhaps Ed Barnard, who also played extremely well in the Worcestershire innings for his unbeaten 43 off just 24 balls, it's worth saying. But Inglis has certainly cleared the ropes with more frequency than anybody else has been able to at all.
Yeah, at this stage the Rapids were 92 for 5 after 13, but that was the kind of low point of the innings. From that point, Barnard and Whiteley did a really good repair job. So although the Foxes are ahead of the game, they still have loads of work to do. Sodhi is in to Inglis, who goes back. The googly follows him, so all he can do is sort of shovel it around the corner out towards Whiteley, who's at short fine leg on the 45. Single is taken. It's not Whiteley out there, it's Dwarcius, another strong left-handed thrower. That's what deceived me. Whiteley's normally out there at mid-wicket, and indeed deep mid-wicket, and indeed he is. Sodhi is in to Swindell's, tosses it up. Swindell's goes for the slog sweep, misses, hits over the top of it. Cox whips off the bails just in case. Seems to be automatic for wicketkeepers these days. If the bat is beaten to a spinner, we take off the bails. 112 for 3, Leicestershire, 58 to win. Tries a reverse sweep this time. It's an appeal for a catch behind from Cox. Sodhi's appeal is...
He joined in, didn't he?
And he didn't make a noise. He just turned with his bat hand raised to the umpire, and of course the umpire said no. He and Sodhi knew that Swindles hadn't hit it, but Swindles just getting tied down a little bit. He hasn't really known what to make of Sodhi, who is in and bowls to him. He slog sweeps again. This time he gets it out to Whiteley at deep mid-wicket, but it's only one. Swindles is operating in singles completely in his innings. He's got 12 off 16 balls, but he's giving support to English.
Swindles, not Swindells. I played with somebody called Swindells, and that's what I keep saying.
I actually don't think he minds that much, to be quite honest. He's a very amiable young man indeed. In goes Sodhi and bowls, and he goes for the cut Inglis, and it misses it, and it just misses off stump. As Frank says, it went straight on, and could so easily have just clipped the off bail. It didn't. Inglis remains 70. Fox is 113 for 3. This is a good over from Ish Sodhi, but he's only got one ball left to bowl in his spell. He's in again to Inglis, drops a little bit short, pulled firmly out towards wide long on. Oliveira, the field down there, absolutely outstanding fielder. There are, I don't think, many better in the county game, and he keeps it down to 1. Inglis moves on to 71, keeps the strike, just the 3 runs from the Ish Sodhi over, and after he got treated a bit harshly in his first over, he's come back really strongly and bowled a really good spell, but he hasn't taken the wicket, and that may prove to be a factor. After 14 overs, Worcestershire won 98 for 5, Leicestershire 114 for 3.
And Ed Barnard coming into the attack at the Bennett end. Been underbowled, one might say, in the white ball competition this year. Hasn't bowled as many overs as he has in previous years. Entrusted with the ball now at a key time. He comes in and he bowls, and he's hit for 6. First ball by Inglis. Oh, well, he isn't hit for 6.
Brilliant.
He's hit over the ropes, and there's an amazing piece of fielding on the boundary.
That's an
absolutely incredible piece of fielding out there. By, I think, well, it's Brett D'Oliveira, who you just said is one of the best fielders in the country, running around the boundary, couldn't catch it. It was over the ropes, but flicked it back in. Barnard is in again. They got 2, and this time Inglis is nearly caught again by so much to talk about, isn't there? Well, let's go back to the D'Oliveira one. First ball of the over, heaved away on the leg side. D'Oliveira literally on the rope, couldn't catch it, flicked it back in, stopped it going for 6. They got 2. Brilliant piece of fielding.
He did catch it.
Wasn't able to push it up in the air long enough to get back in.
Yeah.
And then the next ball is ramped by Inglis, and it's Sodhi running back from short fine leg. And is he going to get there? Is he going to get there? And it just eludes his grasp and goes for 4. 120 for 3. Barnard can't believe it. Comes in, bowls. This one is 6. Shorter. This game is going to end pretty quickly. This one's heaved away on the leg side by Inglis. It's turning into a one-man show here at Grace Road. Fantastic strike from Inglis. 83 now off 48 balls. The sort of thing we saw at New Road earlier this year when Johnny Bairstow got stuck into the Worcestershire attack, and it's difficult to bowl to a man in this kind of form. Doesn't look like a pitch in which the ball is holding up when he's batting, and he has struck it like nobody else. 83 now of 48 balls, 126 for 3. Barnard in, short, 4 more. Inglis goes back and cuts this away over backward point. Crowd are warming up here at Leicestershire. Worcestershire's hopes of qualifying for the quarter-final are fading away, I'm afraid, under the lights here. And that's mainly because of Josh Inglis. 87 now of 49. And well, they're just 40 away really, and in a game like this with 5 overs to go, that is a walk in the park really, unless they can get Inglis out in the next couple of overs. Barnard in again, bowls, he cuts in the air, and it's out to deep cover, Whiteley Fields. They take a single. 1 ball left in the 15th over, 131 for 3. Swindell's 12 not out, just happily pushing the ball around in this partnership and watching his partner at the other end,
who's just gone over 500 runs in the
gone
competition.
over 500. Brilliant.
Is now the top scorer
effort.
in the competition.
Could have been out a couple of times, but he's ridden his luck. Barnard is in, bowls, off cutter to Swindell's, who drives straight to the fielder at backward point. No run. End of the over. 15 gone, 131 for 3. That one going for 17. Expensive over, and you have to say, with 7 wickets in hand, 39. Off 5 is a pretty...
Should pick up a couple. Brett D'Oliveira, that is the bowler. Inglis moves on to 90 from 51 balls. Already has a century in the competition so far this season against Northamptonshire at Wantage Road. In goes D'Oliveira, bowls to him, down the wicket he is, lofting it over, wide, extra cover for 6 more, hits the net in front of the Geary bar, in front of the Milligan Road side of the ground. Josh Inglis is approaching a second century in this competition. He is on 96 now of 52 balls. Astonishing hitting from the Australian. 139 now, Leicestershire. D'Oliveira is in. Inglis goes back and just works it calmly out to mid-wicket. There is no mid-wicket. Brett D'Oliveira has to go scampering out to mid-wicket. Frank Watson heads off to talk to BBC Radio Hereford and Worcester and tell them that unless the Worcestershire Rapids get rid of Inglis now, they are going to lose this game, and with it, any chance they have of progressing to the quarterfinals of the competition. D'Oliveira is into Swindles, just works it out towards mid-wicket. Could be a second. Inglis turns for the second. Whiteley comes in and throws. Inglis makes his ground. The throw is slightly wide. First time Harry Swindles, who seems to have been out there for quite a while, has scored more than a single off any delivery faced. He moves on to 14 off 18. But he is doing a great job for his side in that he is lending Inglis support. In goes D'Oliveira, bowls to Inglis, pulls along the ground out towards deep mid-wicket. Will have to settle for... Well, I beg your pardon, it's Swindles because of that too, of course. So Swindles takes 1, moves on to 15. Inglis back down on strike now on 97. What an innings this has been for Josh Inglis. Brett D'Oliveira goes in, bowls to him, he goes back and works it out towards mid-wicket. Content, I think, with 1. It's coming towards the end of the over. Has he kept the strike? Yes, he has, Josh Inglis. Leicestershire, after 16 overs then, are 144 for 3. They need 170 to win the game. Another 26 runs then from the final 4 overs. Should be with 7 wickets in hand, despite the loss of captain Colin Ackerman with a split finger in which he's had stitches. Hasn't been able to bat in his usual position as a consequence. But despite that, the Foxes, or particularly Josh Inglis, making it all look a reasonably straightforward. After 16 overs, the Rapids were 123 for 5. So Leicestershire have got themselves well ahead of the game in that respect, at least. Can the Rapids sense this slipping away from them, sense their chances in the competition slipping away? 26 needed by Leicestershire, 7 wickets by the Rapids, or to restrict Leicestershire. What's English? Everybody's waving away at the Leicestershire dressing room at the moment. I don't know whether English particularly wants new batting gloves. On comes the 12th man with new batting gloves. He's getting a bit of a sweat on out there. It is hot out there. Still sultry, as Tim in Saddleworth describes it. Up on the Lancashire moors, well, it's pretty sultry down here in the East Midlands as well after a very, very hot day. Glorious sunset away to my right from the top of the pavilion. Just seen the sun sinking away there. Huge orange globe, the moon high in the sky. Leicestershire cannot qualify in this competition, but they look as though they're going to make sure Birmingham does. In goes the bowler, who is Dwarshus, and that is 4. English trying to ramp it, got a thick top edge, it bounces over the top of third man, it runs away to the third man boundary. What an innings from Josh English. 55 balls faced. He has hit 8 4s and an astonishing 7 6s. And on his last appearance for the Foxes at the Upton Steel County Ground, this extraordinary player has hit his 2nd century of the T20 competition this season. He's going to go on and play in the 100, but oh my goodness, Leicestershire would love to have him back next year. He is on 102, not out. Dwarshus comes in, bowls to him, and he's hit another huge 6 over wide, long on into the Melton Building Society family stand. Bounces just short of the advertising hoardings in front of that stand. Whatever you bowl at Josh English at the moment, it is going out of the ground. Brings up the Leicestershire 150. He has threatened to do this a few times this season. He's done it on a couple of occasions now. He's got to lots of 30s and 40s. But what fast hands this young Australian, born in Leeds, lest we forget, has. In goes Dwarshus, bowls to him. He goes back and dabs down towards short third man, where Ish Sodhi is the fielder, and takes 1, moves on to 109. 155 for 3. Leicestershire now need just 15 to win and put Worcestershire well out of the competition, end their chances of going through to the quarterfinals. Birmingham Bears will be on the edge of their seats watching this in increasing delight, I suspect. 15 needed for Leicestershire. What a partnership this has been. Harry Swindles, and he's got 15. Dwarshus comes round the wicket to him. He ramps. He should be caught by Sodhi. No, he is not going to be caught by Sodhi. He misjudged that. 10 yards it bounces behind him and runs down to the finest of fine third man boundaries for 4. Harry Swindles has hit his first boundary. The partnership is now worth 98, of which Swindles has 19, and the Foxes now doing this as Frank returns at something of a canter. 159 for 3. Swindles awaits the arrival of Dwarshus round the wicket, bowls to him, slightly short, cut away towards short extra, gets in the throw, misses the throw. Daryl Mitchell, that is. There is backup, so no extras conceded, single taken. 100 partnership. Inglis 78 says the scoreboard of those 100 runs. Swindles 20. But it's noticeable that it's Inglis who runs up and punches gloves with Harry Swindles. He is a team player, Josh English, and I think he has enjoyed his time here, and certainly Leicestershire have enjoyed having him. Dwarshus back over the wicket to his fellow Australian, pulled out for 4. They brought the fielder in on the leg side and found the gap. Inglis, all coming the same to him now, seeing it like the proverbial football, puts it away for 4. Moves on to 113. Josh English. Harry Swindles has 20. The Foxes 164 for 3. They need 6 off 3 overs with 7 wickets in hand.
Yeah, this game will be over very shortly. Disappointment for the Rapids, who came here knowing they needed to win to go through to the quarter-finals, having lost on Friday night to the Birmingham Bears, and the Birmingham Bears winning this afternoon, but unable to do so. 91 for 5 at one stage, recovered well. Worcestershire with Whiteley and Barnard sharing a partnership of 76 for the 6th wicket. Whiteley out for 31, Barnard unbeaten with 43, 169 for 6. Looked about par, but it hasn't been par with Josh Inglis batting the way he has batted. He has taken the game away from Worcestershire almost single-handedly, and they're now on the cusp, Leicestershire, which is why I'll hand back to you, Richard, to describe this last, what I think will be the last over from Charlie Morris.
One suspects so. Paul Morris, 17 off his first over, and now he's brought back on against two batsmen who've raised a 100 partnership. Going pretty well. He's coming in to bowl to Harry Swindles, short, pulled by Swindles like a rifle, it sounds like, as it comes off the middle of the bat, but good work out there on the square leg boundary means it is just a single. Inglis then will come on to strike 113 of 58 balls for Josh Inglis. He has given the Upton Steel County Ground, Grace Road, a real treat. If this is his last innings, it's certainly his last innings for the Foxes this season. All things being equal, well, what memories they will have, the Leicestershire supporters, as Morris is in. Bowls to him, a full toss. Follows him, he'd made room, he was charging down the wicket, making room. Morris followed him, and all Inglis could do was play it firmly back down along the ground towards the Worcestershire seamer. One or two shoulders, a little bit hands, lots of hands on hips out there for the Rapids. Understandably, if they go out of the competition losing their last two games, then that is a very tough way indeed to exit the Vitality Blast. In goes Morris, bowls to English, who drives a good ball, fullish ball, out towards mid-off, where Jack Haynes comes in and fields, but as I say, there is a resignation about the Rapids now. They know the writing very much on the wall. Inglis onto 114. 4 more needed in this over. A little toot of the Vuvuzela. Leicestershire going to end the competition with 2 good wins over Nottinghamshire and Worcestershire. In goes Morris, bowls down the leg side, just helped on its way off a little bit of a top edge from Swindles out towards square leg. And he has to settle for 166 for 3. 3 more needed. Just the 2 balls to go in this over. It's been a good over from Morris. 3 singles from it, from the first 4 balls. The Leicestershire supporters thoroughly enjoying themselves now. I'm sure there is an element of sympathy for the Rapids. Just enjoying the day. In goes Morris, and bowls hit straight back over his head for 4 by Josh Inglis. What an innings this man has played to pull off an extraordinary victory for the Foxes. He has a long hug with Harry Swindles, because what a way to finish his time here at Grace Road. Josh Inglis has played one of the great T20 innings, one of the great white ball innings, I would suggest, to give the Foxes victory by 7 wickets, with the best part, well, 2 overs and a delivery to spare. 118 not out. What would he have got if the innings had gone to its conclusion, full 20 overs? But it means, I'm afraid, from the Rapids' point of view, that they are not going to qualify for the quarterfinals. The Birmingham Bears are the last team from the North to go through to the knockout stages. Frank, they just came up against a batsman in extraordinary form.
Yeah, they did, and they won't, when they reflect on it, they won't have any complaints about that. It's not the first time it's happened to them this year. So Johnny Bairstow playing extraordinary innings at New Road. in similar fashion, but Josh Inglis made it look a different game from every other batsman tonight. Ed Barnard was excellent for his 43 off 24 balls, but it was the power of Inglis. 61 balls for his 118, 10 fours and 8 sixes. Magnificent effort. From a Worcestershire point of view, good from Barnard, good from Whiteley, good from Libby in that 169 for 6. But other than Pennington, who bowled well, 4 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 29, the rest of the bowlers suffered at the hands of Inglis, and it's a well-deserved victory for the Foxes, and Worcestershire left possibly to rue a little bit of inconsistency in this competition, which could have seen them qualify before tonight had they put that right earlier on. But no complaints, I'm sure, when they reflect on that fantastic innings from Inglis, and the crowd have been really treated to some special batting tonight.
Astonishing knock, Adam, and from the Foxes' point of view, there'll be a lot of, well, what might have been, you know, again, they're going to get fairly close to qualification, or finish fairly close to qualification for the quarterfinals with those 2 wins, another couple of wins, winning that home game against Durham, what a difference that would have made. But not to be, I'm afraid, but at least some hugely joyful, I think, and astonishing memories to take from the last 2 games in particular. I haven't seen a better. Yeah, I haven't seen a better for Leicestershire in the T20. I don't think. Inglis is, what was it, 83 did he get up at Headingley? It was an astonishing knock as well against Yorkshire earlier this season. But that, we saw Luke Ronke hit some amazing shots during his stay a few seasons ago at the top of the order, but he didn't sort of go on to make 3 figures in that.
available from the website. Do go and support these youngsters. A lot of them will be youngsters. We've seen some of them here in action. Remember.